There are 5 maps in State of Decay 2 and I intend on clearing every single one of them with a single character in the hardest difficulty, Lethal Zone. Oh no! But who could possibly take on such a challenge? Some say he was designed in a lab with one goal: end the blood plague and save the planet. But the few that have met him know his true goal: to find his lost brother. Meet Wick, J. Wick, a completely original character named after his love to burn things to the ground. Any resemblance to real life person or fictitious entities, living or dead, is purely coincidental and certainly not grounds for a lawsuit. Mr. Wick has the fortifications quirk skill, granting him the knowledge of craftsmanship and construction, neither of which we're gonna need, although the +2 materials a day won't go unused. Mainly we're after the hero bonus that comes with fortifications, barn raisins. We get an extra free labour once our standing is maxed out, which already puts him ahead of Dean from the previous challenge. He's also a Virgil Guard that gives him -40 fatigue severity and a Golden Eagle marksman for the extra 20 stamina. Stamina is going to be king in this challenge, and keeping Mr. Wick fast and nimble will be crucial. The 2 boons I decided to go with was Warlord and Trader to save me as much time from looting as possible. I get a ton of ammo from the Warlord boon and 4000 influence from the Trader, which is quite handy as when this Deliveroo driver rocks up to my place I've got plenty of cash to get the purchasing. Although I'd have preferred those med sacks to be building materials, but I'm sure we'll be able to put them to good use. By the time I've raided all of his resources, I've still got plenty of influence left, so my next step is to call in the Prepper's pickup for the extra storage space. And I know what you might be thinking at this point.
Jay, you bloody moron, you're wasting time. Won't Fake Tea kick in about 45 minutes of game time?
And you'd be correct, but to quote the late great Abraham Lincoln, if you give me 3 hours to cut down the bloody tree, I'll spend the first hour and a half sharpening the pissing axe. I just hope we don't get John Wilkes boofed by a triple pack of blood ferals. I collect some building materials from the warehouse and an ammo sack from the military stash behind it. And once I've shown off Mr. Wick's impressive driving skills and used my rear end to take out a blood feral, I find 2 more sacks of building materials nearby, then start building an infirmary. I also turn the gun shop nearby into an ammo outpost, and I've always thought this was a bit of an odd area to pick up school supplies as there's nothing else even slightly close to it. Also, rather surprisingly, the shop hasn't been raided, which might be the first time I've ever been able to loot this place in Lethal Zone. So with that, we got ourselves a daily income of ammo, as well as the sack on my back. I then continue a bit of looting, collecting fuel from the shed and meds from this house. And with that, it's time to take on our first mission, as allies might be able to assist us in finding Mr. Wick's brother. These guys are looking for play examples, and seeing as they're also selling coffee and energy drinks, 2 things that'll come in handy later in the run, I'm more than happy to assist. But first, I climb the tallest nearby structure and enjoy the view. And with the first of 150-ish play carts in my sights, it's time to get to work. And while I do have plenty of ammo and explosives, now is not the time for shooting from the roof. We need to make use of our stamina before the fatigue kicks in. I creep my way in like Drake in a high school and quickly eliminate the only 2 Zeds in the building. And that gives me the time I need to quickly complete the first phase with 3 powerhouse swings with my shovel. And the molly I threw did a great job of clearing any zombies heading towards the heart, so after eliminating another 2, I complete the second phase. But the final phase is going to be a bit trickier as I now have a couple of Zeds on my tail. Well, you'd think that, but one more full power swing and a molly I tossed to thin out the crowds eliminates the play car quicker than the Boeing CEO can say the word whistleblower. Now remember, if I die due to mysterious circumstances, I don't have an affixy wank fetish, and the only guns I own are attached to my biceps. Sorry ladies, I'm a taken man. I collect the samples and some other tasty loot, then deliver them to the Good Samaritans who gift me a sack of fuel supplies. I also purchased the earlier mentioned energy drinks and coffee before cracking on to take on play cart number 2. This heart is situated in a little farmhouse, but the plan remains the same as earlier, melee weapons only. Okay, maybe with a side dish of incineration. What do you expect? My guy is literally named after a candle. I get 2 full power swings on the heart before the crowds catch up to me, although as I'm trying to escape, the snap aim screws me and I drop a Molotov at my feet. Oh god, well, the snap aim fucked me there. At that point, shit has well and truly hit the fan, so I go full auto on the play cart, proving once and for all whenever I mention a plan, I'm chatting at the shite. A couple more shots gets the job done, but for the first time we've taken infection damage. But hey, that's just the kind of shit that happens when you're the zombie slaying the completely original character, not based upon any other works of fiction. Our third heart is only around the corner, so for the first phase I hit it and burn it, before looping around the back of the house to deal with a screamer. Nope, don't think so. Spit at someone else, you prick. The second phase is completed with 1 swing because I'm hard as fuck. Unfortunately, however, I get greedy and my lungs get filled with a toxic stench only those close close to Donald Trump can relate to. There's also a bloater sleeping outside. Is that really a bloater, or is that just no, it's just a fat guy. Okay, fair enough. Not an ideal situation to be in, especially as I said earlier, stamina is going to be king in this challenge. I'm certainly going to have to be more careful going forward, assuming I want to complete the challenge. But hey, that's the third heart dead, and some tasty loot to go alongside. I then pay a visit back to the previous heart to complete the looting spree there, before heading back home to unload my spoils of war. At this point, my standing is just over halfway, meaning I'm still restricted to only one labour. I can't even clear away the shit in this outdoor slot. Christ, how much rubbish has there gotta be for this to be a two-man job? But luckily there is one thing I can build that'll be of much use. But first I use infection therapy to remove my partial infection. Then Mr. Wick heads off to collect some supplies. Well, one supply to be precise. You see, I've been grinding daybreak, and all this prestige is burning a hole in my pocket. So I pay a visit to the prestige trader and pick up a Red Talon workshop prefab. Obviously I could afford a lot more, but let's not take the piss, is it? The Red Talon workshop is the equivalent of a level 3 workshop, except it supplies its own power, which will be useful for a legacy mission down the line. But mainly I don't want to spend too much time collecting an extra 40 building materials in order to upgrade the regular workshop. What can I say, I'm a lazy boy. Anyway, with the workshop only needing one labour to start construction, I immediately head off, obviously leaving the manual labour to a team of ghosts, or maybe Mr. Wick has trained some plague Zeds or something. Then on my way past, I set my second outpost, this petrol station. And once its resources have been scavenged and my car's been topped up with dinosaur gunk, we head on to take on more play carts, and that's when I realise fatigue is slowly starting to creep in. You might not be able to see it under the gas inhalation, but it's definitely there. The next heart is in a farmhouse, and that goes down without too many issues, providing you ignore that I'm once again partially infected. I quickly scavenge the useful items from its husk and move on. And at this point you might be thinking this seems a little too easy. Why the bloody hell aren't there any freaks spawning? And while I'm not entirely certain on how it works, I'm pretty sure the amount of freaks that spawn is linked to your standing, and seeing as we've only got one character, my standing isn't maxed out yet, ferals don't seem to be spawning as I assault play carts. But don't worry, trust me, we'll get there. The fifth heart is in a barn, and while it is possible to wedge a vehicle in a way to guarantee an easy victory, I always seem to mess that strategy up and don't really want to risk our car. There's also a triple pack of bloaters on their way, so I want to try and use them to my advantage. Unfortunately, however, I forgot to bring mollies, so I've got to ignite them with the grenades I looted from the previous heart, and that doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as I thought it would. But that does complete the second phase, so 2 more heavy swings ends the play card, and we get some banging loot for our efforts. Our 6th heart is in another barn, but this type I can very much block with a vehicle. So as you'd imagine, this one is pretty much a freebie. Pretty much, but not entirely. A little bit of fatigue. It's just, oh god, where the hell did you come from? What the fuck? Did he glitch through a wall, or was he just stood there waiting for me? Like, no, I'll wait for you to finish talking. Thankfully, no other issues occurred. Good night, play card. I collect more loot, and by my estimation, I should have just enough pocket space to take down and collect the loot from one more play card. Although, if I'm being honest, that was me being a little too greedy. You see, Mr. Wick has a maxed out stamina skill, meaning as long as I'm not carrying too much shit, I can sprint about without losing stamina. But right now, I'm relying on caffeine to keep my lungs working. So I think it's time I use up some of this ammo I've been holding like a deranged prepper. But funnily enough, in this universe at least, the preppers had a bloody good point. And right now I'm benefiting from the fact most of them actually had the survival skills of a panda. Yes, my tirade against those black and white fluffy fiends continues. What is the point of a bear that only eats sticks? Anyway, another 15 rounds gets the job done, and now I can go and drop off my loot. But by upgrading my petrol station to a level 2 outpost, I don't need to go all the way home. I can drop off my rucksacks there and save me some fuel. It's pretty much an unmeasurable amount of fuel, but as Tesco would say, every little helps. And with that, we've now got ourselves a nice little stash of resources. Our stand-in has also hit hero status, so we set ourselves as the leader. A bit egotistical, I'm sure you'll agree, but at least now I'll be able to see exactly how many play carts we've got left. 21 remaining in Meager Valley. I then mow down a crackhead in cold blood and my car starts smoking. But that's alright, I know where I can get a guaranteed 2 toolkits. Oh no, I can't find 2 toolkits here because I've got some dickheads in here. And funnily enough, these guys are the boon traders. Literally the guys I raided for resources right at the start, and I can't even threaten the fuckers with violence. Well, would you look at that, my past decisions catching up with me. Touché, sir, touché. I guess for now I'll just focus on smashing strange meat. We head north to find another heart in a barn, and with a mixture of beating and shooting we get the job done, even if I've taken on even more plague damage in the process, including more gas inhalation. But don't ask, I don't want to talk about it. But if you'd like to check out the run in full, I'll leave a link to the live streams in the description. After leading the hordes away, way, I collect some decent loot and head back to base to remove my partial infection once again. But this time I also use emergency medicine to remove the trauma, seeing as I've got plenty of medical supplies. And with that, we're in excellent condition to go back to hunting plague hearts. Although sadly our car isn't in as good a shape as our health currently is. The next heart is in a medical centre, and with a shovel fuel bomb full auto tactic, it goes down quicker than anything we've previously faced. And you'll be glad to know we're finally rewarded for our efforts with a toolkit. And I even managed to use the thing with a sleeping bloater just behind me and plague Zeds wandering about. I told you all I was world class at stealth. Our next target is only around the corner, and once I phase it with the shovel, I drop a molly which sets all the Zeds on fire and causes a damage multiplier glitch which almost instantly takes out the plague heart. Certainly not deliberate, but we'll take all the help we can get, I guess. I also get another toolkit before taking damage and having to throw myself out of the window. And with that, I head to the southeast corner of the map where there's a solitary plague heart that goes down without too much trouble. I even find another toolkit and an abandoned car outside. I'm sure whoever left it there won't be needing it any longer. It's then once again time to climb up a tall structure, which turns out to be a great idea as I get a first aid kit from the container at the top. We've also discovered the location of the next 5 plague hearts. And you know what they say, when in Rome you eat pasta and shout obscenities at minorities? Well, in Plague Zone you bash in skulls and blow your load over strange sacks. I also do my bit to lower the local crackhead population. Here we go, dead. But just like the 11 that have come before it, this plague heart shall too fall. But with me having taken way too much plague damage than I'm comfortable with, I think it's time to head back to base. However, there is one thing I've completely forgotten about: my fuel gauge. Well, there's definitely been worse places around at fuel, so I'll take that. Gratefully, I've got a fuel resource in the back, so once it's broken open, I can refuel and just be grateful I'm not surrounded by juggernauts. But I really should be more careful. I then get back to base and sort myself out before realising my mates are looking for building materials. And usually I'd be like, fuck 'em, but I need building materials myself for the next thing I'm planning on building. So I make my way to this construction site with his 2 unfinished houses. And incredibly, I don't just find 1, nor 2, but 4 sacks of building materials, which not only means I can deliver a sack to the Good Samaritans who go from friendly to allied, I can also start the construction of my next building project, the shooting range. That 20 plus stamina is going to be very important. Stamina is God. No, stamina is king, that's the phrase, isn't it? And with all that admin out of the way and our crew of construction ghosts busy working, it's back to play territory. Our next victim is in a little tavern, and they always tend to be quite awkward due to the heart being in the bathroom. I complete the first phase having taken minimal damage, then drop a frag to clear the crowd. And from there it's pretty simple to get the killer blow. I can then cross the river to do my favourite thing: climb another tall structure. I find 3 plague hearts in total, but before I leave I've got to check out the utility shed as there's often a toolkit in there. Jesus. Okay, on this occasion it's a sleeping toppy boy, but I don't want to shoot it and deal with the aggro of fighting more hordes, so instead I make a more foolish decision. I try to creep around the bastard. All I'm after is a spare toolkit and I'll leave. However, in the first container I find a machete, then building mats and scraps of circuitry. I guess where the final container is. So how do I deal with the problem? Charging in head first, of course. Thankfully the damage isn't too extreme. I know other Zeds heard the pop, so I can wait it out in the corner like I've been put in timeout. But hey, let's be honest, all this headache will be worth it for a spare 2, you son of a bitch. It's fair to say I'm taking bigger L's than Draco for the past few weeks. Anyway, back to the goal at hand, taking down a player cart in this warehouse. I crowd control with frag grenades, then narrowly avoid a feral attack. It gets stunned by a second frag grenade, but I'm not quick enough to deliver the killer blow. So I stick it in the corner and fill it with lead. And with that, the plague heart falls not too long after. And at this point, you might be noticing my player's gotten a little sloppy. I'm almost infected, I have trauma that's not connected to my childhood, and my lung capacity is starting to drain. And I'm not one to make up excuses, but there is a reason for everything. And at the time of recording here in Wales, we were experiencing a twice of the year phenomenon known as summer. Admittedly, it had hit a little early this year, and you'll be glad to know we're now back to grey skies and drizzle. But look at the state of that face. It's shinier than Pep Guardiola's forehead. What can I say? 16 degrees isn't for the faint of heart. Okay, well that was fucking close. I am insanely close to infection. Now don't get me wrong, I've got plague cures, but we kinda want to be saving as many as them for the last few maps. So the question is, can I take down this plague cart and get back to base before that dreaded 5-minute timer makes an appearance? With phase 1 complete, I lead the hordes on a nice long loop to give me plenty of time with the heart, although in my panicked state, machine gun goes brop brop, and the second phase comes incredibly easily. Another wide loop around the outside of the house, and once again going full auto gets the win. But you know for a fact I'm not leaving until I get my hands on that precious loot. But that definitely could be a risky decision given the amount of zombies around me, especially as it's literally impossible for me to be any closer to Blood Plague without actually having it. But what can I say, Mr. Wick is an absolute machine and grabs all the loot without any issues. Right, now it's time to go. Now it's time to— oh, you bastard! You son of a bitch!
Better stay on my toes while I'm in plague territory.
Yes, you should stay on your toes while in plague territory. And we can't take the cure while at the wheel, as drunk driving is frowned upon. And instead of pulling over and just taking it out, I decide to wait until I'm back at base, which is irrefutably a moronic decision, as if I hit a single bloaterous nights out before we've even completed the first map. Oh shit. Nope! Nope! Oh my god! That was... wow. Nothing could go wrong, right, chat? And once again, we're never punished for a stupid decision. And when it happens as often as it does to me, it's not luck, that's pure skill. Once the cure has been taken and emergency medicine has been activated, we're pretty much back to square one with the exception of a smidge of fatigue. And I do have a coffee that'll sort that out, but it'll be better used when the fatigue gets even worse. So right now it's back to taking down plague arts, and I wish I could say the plays get better from here, but they don't. Don't get me wrong, I can complete the first phase with plenty of roly-polies while the frags manage the crowds. But I need to do this quick and escape as I can hear a Juggernaut's roar outside, and I don't want to use my car as a plaything. Thankfully, after all that overcompensating, it's only one shot. I then leave without even thinking about the loot, although I do lose a door in the process. That wasn't the smoothest way, I'm sure you'll agree, but we got shit done. And that's what counts. And we still have the stim active. Except it runs out almost immediately after those words leave my mouth. If anyone ever needs a jinx, just drop me an email. I complete the first two phases with the frags on my shovel while evading the hordes in the bunker. Oh my god, these zombies just coming from everywhere. Oh shit, gas! Not good. But thankfully once the gas has dissipated, it is just one more swing to say goodnight, sweet prince. But I'm now on a roll, and judging from my face, the temperature has creeped up to 17 degrees. So I abandon any thought of looting and just crack on immediately to the next plague art. After parking here like my missus at the supermarket, I immediately charge head first and take some stupid damage. But once again, frags are my best friend and I complete the first phase, although I need to stop taking damage like this. I decide to get some space and leave the hordes behind, but there's a feral waiting for me outside. But Mr. Wick is a machine and crackheads don't scare him in the slightest. Oh shit, I've just thrown myself off a cliff. How the fuck hell do I get it back up there? Usually I'd say follow the yellow brick road, but I guess this rocky incline will do just fine. We can then finish off the heart with the shovel, and after our looting the previous two hearts, I want to check out what goodies it has. Mainly after any explosives though, if I'm being honest. I start by getting their attention outside, then once everyone has vacated the house, I leg it like the devil is chasing me. And I suppose 2 fuel bombs and a shotgun ain't too bad for a day's work. So let's crack on to another heart, another in a barn? Almost as if we're in farmland or something. But this time things don't get off to a great start, as I take more damage, and I'm once again an ant stick away from infection. So for revenge, I drop one of my 2 fuel bombs. Burn, baby, burn. And not only does that cause it to phase, but it also burns up all the undead, which means I can shoot straight through phase 2 and take down the plague heart. Although my gun is now on the verge of breaking, and we're now getting chased by a feral. But hey, let's be honest, there's only one of them, they don't stand a bloody chance. Especially as the machine known as Mr. Wick. I then have to lure the rest of them away, and after eliminating the threats, I can collect even more loot. But that is when I notice we have a wandering trader spawn. But not just any wandering trader, an Echo Lab trader. So I rush over knowing I could potentially be about to purchase the greatest item in this game. And it's fair to say our last collie certainly didn't disappoint. Not only is she selling scent block and zombie, but she's also selling the ability to craft them, as well as much more with the advanced biochem station. I purchase all 3, but I'll leave it up to the comment section whether or not I'll use them in future maps. It might become necessary as we get further into the challenge, but ultimately the decision is yours. To be fair, I probably should have also bought the repeating crossbow, but it is what it is. So I once again save myself a future cure with infection therapy, then spend a controversial 5 minutes going through my supply locker and scrapping all the weapons I've collected over the previous 2 hours. That way I can use the parts to keep my preferred weapons working perfectly. We now have 9 plague hearts left in Meager Valley, so it's time to get busy. Firstly, I head to the most northern westerly section of the map to, you guessed it, climb another cell tower. Maybe it's the wind in my hair, perhaps it's the intrusive thoughts telling me to jump. All I know for certain is this is a great way to find more plague hearts.
Okay, nothing more to see here.
I head to the heart closest to us on foot, which is in this warehouse. And you'll notice I'm back to being a sneaky boy. Stop. Stab. Stab. But unfortunately, a Plague's Edge ruins my ninja-like approach by throwing itself through a window. Well, if they ain't being silent, there's no reason I should be. I start by smacking it with my shovel, but didn't quite realise how many zombies were inside, so I drop a molly and go for a run. Unfortunately though, that run didn't drag anywhere near enough of them out of the warehouse, so when I head back inside, I've got to drop a fuel bomb, but hey, at least we've completed the first phase. But then I got to deal with a crackhead, which doesn't cause me any first-hand problems, but his buddies do leave a little mark. The crackhead falls, and not too long later, so does the plague heart. And the good news doesn't stop there, as there's also an ambulance outside with 2 medikits in. Always great to have a backup solution for removing injuries and trauma. And once the heart has been looted, we can crack on to the next play card. And I wish I could say this one goes by without a hitch. Things get off to a horrible start when my heavy shovel becomes yellow. But luckily yellow is a warning colour like it's on a traffic light door in the snow. Anyway, with the heart phasing, I drop my final fuel bomb, but then guess which annoying pricks decide to make an appearance. Not just a feral, but a bloody juggernaut too. Without a doubt a terrible combination. Thankfully though, the feral is dealt with easily and the juggernaut can't get his fat head into the building. But this has now become a speed run to prevent the fat bastard from destroying my car. I complete the second phase, then run out front while the juggernaut is around the back. Then once I'm satisfied that enough time has passed for the gas to fade, I can head back inside to complete the job. But no time to loot this heart, it's time to get the fuck out. And thankfully the next heart is only across the road, barely 200 meters away. And thankfully this one does go by without a problem, but I did have to do a lot of running to lead away the hordes. Then I head southbound chasing plague territory and climb another billboard. And that's when we get our first curveball. Hyper-auditory mutation. That is a big area to have that in. All of my play carts are in here. The last 6 play carts I have are in this area. Great hearing, eyesight impaired. I'm a loud boy. I don't find any play carts from the scouting spot, but I have a rough idea where one should be. There's gotta be a play cart by there. If there's not, I'll eat my own ass. Oh look, there it is, play cart. Phew. My plan here is to take down this heart so I can claim a 3rd outpost, seeing as I've had enough building materials to upgrade the command center to level 2. I can then use that as a mini base to drop off supplies and repair my weapons while I'm on this side of town. So you'll be glad to know this heart goes down nice and easily, providing I keep moving. However, the outpost I got my eye on is still in plague territory, so it looks like I'm going back to hunting before I can do any repairs. The heart is in a petrol station just down the road, and this one also goes by without an issue, although I've now caught the attention of what feels like a gazillion Plague's Heads with super sensitive hearing. So by the time I get back to the Army and Navy store, I have a lot of issues turning it into an outpost. By the time I clear the building, hordes have followed me through the window. But that's alright, I'll just get their attention and lead them away. The same strat I use for dealing with the plague heart in this area. But oh no, there are so many in the area that by the time I loop back around, there's still a few roaming about. And to save time, I looted the plague heart on the way past, so now I'm running incredibly heavy. An unsuppressed gunfire while in plague zone when they've all got super sensitive hearing is just asking for trouble. You can fuck off as well. So I tried to gather them all in one pile and drop a fuel bomb. But if I'm being honest, that barely touched the sides. No matter how big of a loop I made, I couldn't get the building secure in time before the hordes caught up to me. And now the horde's back! So I may have slightly lost my mind in a moment of rage. And as you could probably expect, that just made the problem even worse. So I climb onto a car in the car park opposite and just start blasting. I want nobody near that fucking outpost. Then once I'm satisfied no one is in or near the gun store, and everyone is surrounding me, it's time for another loop. Although this time I draw them through the laundry store, closing both doors behind me to slow them down. And then finally, after what felt like hours, I can claim the outpost and set the incendiary landmines. And once I've dropped off all our loot and repaired my shovel, I make sure our tank is topped up and we go on the hunt for our final 4 play carts. The first of which being in this warehouse. And if you're wondering why I parked on this side of the fence, there was a juggernaut on the other side. But even with a big boy loitering about, there's nothing that can stop us now. That play cart falls and so does the next. And that leaves us with just 2 play carts remaining in Amiga Valley, and thankfully they're both right next to each other, and the news just gets better from there. The first is in a barn that I can block off, so that's a freebie, and then the final heart is in the horse corral next door. I claim the first phase easy enough, but get greedy and take a smidge of damage, but then toss a pipe bomb which I collected from the last heart, before almost blindly running into a bloater. Thankfully I still have frags on me. Oh, nice. But other than that, with no more issues, I take down the heart as well as the feral that comes afterwards. And just like that, Amiga Valley is cleared of the blood plague. But this isn't over just yet. Mr. Wick's true goal is trying to find his brother. But first we need to escape and come up with a plan. And ideally without burning alive. Gratefully it's not the end of the world as I'm carrying a toolkit I collected from a previous playcard. But again, I'm very lucky we weren't surrounded by juggernauts and ferals. I then turned my attention to my next plan, collected water. And you might be thinking thinking, why the bloody hell do you need water for, you fool? You've only got one character and you ain't growing food. Well, to put it simply, I need water to craft one item. Just one item that will assist with my future fatigue issues. An item that comes from the Colombian jungle that wakes you up, makes you alert, and sets you up to conquer the day. No, not that one. Coffee. Coffee will postpone my fatigue when it gets bad enough, so I put all but 8 of my food supplies into it. And that's when I noticed the boon traders have become hostile because I've been rejecting their help every time they've radioed me asking for freebies. And it's like, bro, this is supposed to be America, where we let poor people become riddled with debt because they don't want to just die from cancer. So I'm like, what the bloody hell do you think I'm gonna do with you moaning bastards? Try walking off burst fire to the cranium, you fuckers. And you might be thinking, was this just an elaborate plan to allow you to loot the guaranteed 2 toolkits in the fire station? Perhaps, but perhaps not. I guess we'll never know. And with that, Wick goes on the search for his brother, starting by trading fuel supplies with a new enclave, but sadly, they haven't seen him. Frustrated with his efforts, he builds a fighting gym to blow off some steam, then starts battering the undead. But then word gets to him that the other survivors in Mega Valley aren't pleased that he may have burst fired the faces off some of the residents, so he decides to try and put things right by travelling around to clear the air. Unfortunately though, at his first stop, everybody is already dead. Certainly doesn't make me look good, especially after I burned down their house. It just makes it look like I'm trying to hide evidence. So when I get to the next enclave, they're already fearful and they don't give me a chance to explain, they just run away scared. And it gets even worse with the next enclave I visit. The fucker just tries killing me on sight. And I'm like, bro, I single-handedly took down the blood plague, do you think I'm even slightly bothered about one lonely boy? Although I do find a concerning note referring to me as a tyrant. So when I hear about some coalition members that have set up base in town, it's time to go clear the air, and perhaps they may even have some information about my missing brother. But when I get there, they aren't interested in diplomacy and just start shooting. So I return fire and eliminate 2 of the 3, and the 3rd surrenders. However, I'm not able to interrogate him as quite literally the largest horde of armoured zombies I've ever seen surround us and just start beating the shit out of both of us. And because they're armoured, I can't just deal with them in my normal way, which would be scorched earth, and every time I stamp out 1, 2 more spawn in its place. We do have a curveball on that makes armoured Zeds more common, but this might be taking the bloody piss, man. In the end, my only choice is to lead them all away and hope my captive doesn't escape. And thankfully he doesn't. I guess he has the survival instincts of a panda. I'm then like, do you know my brother? And he's like, yeah, I know him, but I'll never tell you where he is. So with him being of no further use, Wick puts him down, as armoured zombies scratch at his side. But now the rage is flowing strong, and Wick is out for revenge. These bastards know something about his brother, and he will stop at nothing to find him. But he just sees red and brutally guns down the entire coalition without giving them a chance to talk. And this is why you don't mess with family, and why you certainly don't get in the way of Wick. And with that, Mega Valley has been saved, but unfortunately we are no closer to finding Wick's brother. So for one last time, he climbs up the tallest mountain to gaze upon the land, before moving on to Providence Ridge, the next town he'll be searching for his long-lost brother. So on to Providence Ridge, where I change my clothes, then realise some bastard has pinched my car. Luckily I can find a replacement over the radio, then decide to go and help some new folks in town. Obviously I'm also new, but this could be the start of a loving trade relationship between apocalyptic strangers. Oh no, they're rude as fuck and accuse me of hogging all of the supplies. Not technically incorrect, I did bring a lot with me from Mega Valley, but finders keepers, maybe next time you should be a bit more polite to your bastards. Continuing my good deeds, I head to a nearby Army and Navy store to meet a stranger who's looking for painkillers. But with a name like Tori, there's no way in hell I'm helping out cunt who let children starve. Fuck off and tell that twat Rishi to start packing his bags. Next up, it's time to crack on with the blood plague, and our first of 30 is only around the corner from home. But at this point, Mr. Wick is a seasoned warrior who's already cleared an entire town. This is gonna be a cakewalk. Except I almost instantly get bit. Oh shit in hell. Taking my infection meter to just over half. Time to tactically bitch it and run away scared. However, I can also hear the war cry of a blood feral ringing through my ears. Let's deal with the feral. Jesus Christ. I deal with him pretty simply because it's kinda what I do, then complete the first phase of the plague cart. And I may also have slightly accidentally set myself on fire during my escape. But at that point, guess what? Another blood feral decides to join the party. And I obviously do my bit to cull the local population. I then complete the second phase of the plague cart before, you guessed it, another bloody crackhead. Honestly, I think I may have faced more on this single plague cart than I did in the entirety of Mega Valley. But it seems I've ridden my luck for too long, as I miss my next shot and the beast tackles me to the ground and throws me about from my throat. Yep, we're infected. infected on the first heart. Definitely not a good start, as I only used 2 cures in the entirety of the Mega run. Not only does this put the entire challenge in jeopardy, but we may not even make it out of Providence. Anyway, once I'm healed, I take down the plague heart and collect all of its loot. I think I'm going to need as many of those medical supplies as possible. And the funny thing is, I didn't even deal with the crackhead that caused me to get infected. But hey, I guess he's now just another hit and run statistic. I then realise I haven't even started any construction back at base yet, so it's time to get busy with a Red Talon workshop so I can craft mollies, a shooting range for the extra stamina it provides, and I also install the advanced biochem station on the infirmary for when I'm entirely out of hope. And with our crew of construction ghosts underway, we take off to fight our second plague heart. And I wish I could say this attempt went according to plan, but things don't get off to a great start when the room I'm in is overpopulated, so I set everything including myself on fire. Then once I've completed the first phase, I get stuck and accidentally gas myself. Then finally as I escape, I try to lob a frag, but the snap aim causes my aim to veer off to the right like I'm a massive incel. But hey, at least I'm able to take down another crackhead without getting infected. Sometimes you just gotta look on the positive side of things. The heart then goes down, which means I lost count somewhere along the way. I then make my way southbound towards Sawyer's Crossing as some locals need my assistance. Hopefully they'll have some information about Wick's brother, but failing that, they might just be able to help fight the blood plague. When I get there, they're being bitch slapped by some raiders, but humans are barely an inconvenience for Wick. He just channels his inner demon and imagines the bastards have put hands on his dog. Like if someone put hands on my pup Mia, I'd flay the twats, then use their skin to manufacture a lovely new football for her to play with. I'd make an excellent father. Unfortunately, the local rangers are morons and have set up their base in plague territory, so my unsuppressed gunshots have attracted a fair bit of attention. Oh, you bastard! Are you kidding me? I'm fucking infected again! That's 2 cures I've had to use in less than half an hour. Certainly not the greatest of starts. I'm also not able to talk to Susie to complete the mission, as she's currently having her internal organs rearranged, but sadly for her, not in the good way. I'm also running around extremely heavy as I'm carrying the loot from the previous plague heart, which means I'm relying on amphetamines to keep my lungs going. Then as my frag goes off in the distance, I get tackled to the ground and almost become infected once again. We've really not got off to the best start, but I suppose that's the beauty of life. At any point you can draw a line in the spilt zombie guts and say everything in the past is the past. I'm here to conquer the present. I'm finally able to drop off the shit that's slowing me down, and once I've smacked enough twats with my shovel, it's time to have a chat to Susie, who's decided now's a great time to take a power nap. But whatever, she's given me a sack of food for my troubles. But to be honest, I'm more interested in what her enclave has for sale. A motherfucking signal antenna. I'm taking that off your hands as well as your molly supply, and once everything's loaded safely in the back of my pickup, I head a couple of doors down to attack another plague heart. And seeing as there's only one Z in the building, it's back to the old stealthy approach. Well, as stealthy as you can get when you smack large sacks of meat with a heavy shovel. But at least we've completed a phase, and that molly should help cause more residual damage. But more importantly, I'm having to dodge more crackheads, and it seems they've teamed up with the plague Zeds. Oh shit in hell! That's the 3rd cure I'm gonna have to take already, providing I can escape the jaws of death. Thankfully, I'm able to clamber my way onto a nearby abandoned bus and sort myself out. And once the feral's been dealt with, it's not much longer before I can finish off the plague heart. But I decide against looting it as the crowds are too large, and anyway, it's time to head back to base. Literally just so I can drop off all my shit, then start the installation of the signal antenna. Once that's installed, the number of outposts I'll be able to claim will increase from 3 to 4. But before we can crack on any further, I realise there's someone in my base. And that's proper rude. You can't just go and let yourself into other people's safe spaces, especially as this is a solo survivor run. She's been separated from her mates and is asking for my help to get back home. I can't bring myself to explain to her that her home is now infested by the undead, so just agreed to take her home if she'll help me with a plague heart. A stranger danger, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to sit in the back. Sylvia, the deal is, if you can survive me taking down this plague heart, I will get you home. We arrive at the site and get to work. And when I say we, I mean me. Fuck knows where Sylvia is. At least one of us is working hard, like. Then while the heart is phasing, I do a lap around the house, and when I re-enter, I realise Sylvia is actually going toe-to-toe with a blood feral. What a girl! I can't believe I was so negative about her. She then sadly succumbs to her injuries. Meanwhile, I'm stood very still in the corner, waiting for the gas to fuck off so I can take down the final phase. But I've got to do so either very quickly or quietly, as I don't want to mess with a blood feral in these close quarters. fast and reckless certainly sounds more like me. Fearing the crackhead, I decide against looting, but it turns out he was just pretending he was on fire. Such a cruel prank to play on a pyromaniac, especially as I then get immediately infected for God knows how many times. If I see the word skill issue anywhere near that comment section, I'm gonna be furious. This is quite clearly an orchestrated attack on me by Big Apocalypse. They don't want me succeeding in taking down the 5 maps with one character. This is simply unacceptable. So it's time to prove my might, not just to them, but to you all at home as well. It's time to take back Sawyer's Crossing from the Blood Plague, starting with me climbing a tall structure. It had been a while and I was starting to suffer from withdrawal symptoms. After a quick scout about, I find 6 play carts in the vicinity, so it's time to get to work, starting with a fast food joint across the road. Look at me referring to a place as a joint. Christ, if I get any more Americanized, I'll be singing Yankee Doodle Doo while I spit shine my AR-15. Speaking of my trusty AR-15, I used to son of a bitch to remove another crackhead from the existence before finishing off the play cat. And with that hate crime out of the way, I decide I need an outpost down here to help clear the town. And with my eyes on this petrol station, I move towards Big Daddy's auto shop. But this play cart was barely an inconvenience, providing you ignore all of the inconvenience, of course. Anyway, with the heart down, not only do I collect some decent loot from the rotting husk, but I also get a toolkit from Big Daddy himself. But unfortunately, I still have to take down one more play cart before I can claim the petrol station, which is exactly what I do in the house with a big porch. And I didn't even get infected. Your boy's on a roll. So with that petrol station finally free from the grips of the Blood Plague, I turn it into an outpost, set landmines, and even upgrade it to level 2. So now I have a way of depositing rucksacks without heading back to base. And with that safe space acquired, I'm forced to swap primary weapons for the first time, as I've drained all of my 5.56 ammo. So now I'm onto a 30 round AK, rocking the 7.62 rounds. I claim the first phase of my next heart with my shovel, then drop a molly as I escape. The second phase comes and goes nice and easily, and once I've stretched my legs around the block, I show off why Wick has the toughest palms in Providence Ridge. You wouldn't want to get a hand job off him, that's for sure. But as there's a juggernaut right next to my car, I don't want the beast turning it into scrap metal, so I make my way to the next play cart on foot. Slightly risky considering my health situation. The heart is in a house and I start by clearing the area of zombies, which gives me free reign to complete the first phase, set it on fire, and blow a substantial load into its face. But then I gotta dodge a feral attack. But once he's outside, 3 headshots deals with a foul beast, and 1 more powerful shovel swing ends the play cart. I can then get back to my car as the juggernaut has wandered off slightly, and I can make our way to the final play cart in Sawyer's Crossing. But I'm gonna have to be very careful with how I handle my partial infection. Or to make it easier, I can just get smacked before completing the first phase and take another bloody plague cure. But seeing as no ferals have joined the fun yet, I can complete the first phase, then set everything on fire. But for once, not myself. And with the local crackheads on their union allocated lunch break, it's not too much longer until we can finish off the job. Again, the toughest palms in Providence. Then seeing as we're losing 2 meds a day with the infirmary, and I'm popping plague cures like they're Tic Tacs, I decide I need an upgraded medical outpost to offset the loss. And this pharmacy in Sawyer's Crossing will do just fine, once I've eliminated the current inhabitants, of course. Look at me, gentrifying for a good cause. I then upgrade the outpost to level 2, and once the pharmacy has been looted, I turn my attention to the 2 play carts we took down earlier. More loot for the supply locker, or perhaps I'm just a massive hoarder. I'll let you guys decide that in the comment section. I then spot another play cart in a warehouse just outside of town. I start by smacking it, then burning its friends. Then with them crispier than the McChicken sandwich, I can complete the phase, set it on fire, and finish the job off with my pistol. But now it's time to leg it. Not just because we have a crackhead breathing down our necks, but also just the amount of the undead. Thankfully, there's an army medical tent right next door, and I've already said I need meds, so I turn it into my second upgraded medical outpost. So providing I can minimize the amount of cures I'm popping, we should be able to actually earn a profit off of our medical supplies. Anyway, I get back to the car, and now it's time to turn our attention from plague art destruction to people skills, as Wick has kinda nominated himself as the sheriff of Providence Ridge. What can I say, it's obviously my fault for feeding the strays. Anyway, I speak to Leffer of the tenants, and she's like, someone murdered our mate and Stuart has fled the scene of the crime. Although that's the exact opposite of what I was taught in detective school. Everybody knows the baddie always returns to the scene of the crime. Anyway, as I'm in the area, I've got an old score to settle, as the newcomers we visited earlier have now turned hostile against me because I refused to feed their children or something. I'll be honest, I wasn't really listening. So I arrive at their front door and await an answer, then I go all Jesse Pinkman on his ass. And seeing as his mates just witnessed the worst instance of knock knock ginger I've ever seen, they've gotta go too. And you know how you can tell that shit was personal? I didn't even bother to loot their corpses. Anyway, back to capturing a disgusting murderer. Once I've headed home and sorted myself out with the infirmary, of course. I also pay a visit to the local army and navy store ammo and turn that into an upgraded outpost. But now it's back to capturing a disgusting murderer. Although I do have to travel back to the other side of Sawyer's Crossing, basically using up enough fuel to give a vegan an aneurysm. I find the fiend chilling in a fruit stand, and she's like, I didn't kill anyone. If you come with me, I'll be able to find some evidence to prove my innocence. And it's like, okay, fine. It's not as if I'm trying to save the entire town from the zombie virus. I do find a pistol in a desk in a warehouse, and in Stuart's eyes, this proves her innocence. Personally, I'm not too sure how that proves anything, but yeah, sure, I suppose I can travel back to the other side of the map. But on the way, disaster strikes. Oh, you fucking kidding me? Where did he come from? It seems these bastards are evolving and camouflaging themselves in bushes. And of all the things, it had to be a high toxicity bloater, didn't it? Good thing I'm packing pharmaceuticals like I'm Harold Shipman. Anyway, with me still alive, but once again approaching Blood Plague, I collect a supply drop from the bullet benefactor, then take Stuart back home. And weirdly, Leffer actually believes his story. Then in a shocking turn of events, their other member, Ty, reveals himself as the baddie. And even tries shanking me, the bastard. But as a bit of advice, AK-47 does trump serrated steel. Well, I'm sure we all learned a valuable lesson there. I'm not sure what it is, but that was definitely a teachable moment. I've also consumed our first coffee of the series, which I bought from the tenants. So once I've headed back to base and used the infirmary once again, we were in really good shape as we head off to attack more plague hearts. So I make my way to South Hobson, and you guessed it, climb the water tower. And from the vantage point, I spot 4 plague hearts and 2 hostile enclaves. Christ's sake, why do I always make enemies even when I'm trying to be the sheriff? Before I leave, I find 2 toolkits, one in the utility shed, one under the water tower. Then I decide to take on the plague heart right next to the hostile enclave, in the hope they'll distract some of the hordes, and probably take damage, making them easier to deal with later. But how wrong could I be? Oh shit, what the fuck? He's got a gas launcher! As one of the bastards immediately defies the Geneva Convention and declares chemical warfare onto me. Okay, he's also just gassed himself. The guy's a moron. So I turn my attention to the plague heart next door and complete the first phase. But when a feral joins the party, it's time to maneuver him towards the hostiles. Although I needn't have bothered, as when I charge in, I get eye to eye with a dude in a red Talon outfit, and one headshot puts him to bed, then the rest of his team dissemble. Although they're still in the area to help distract the hordes that have gathered, and with them acting as decoy, it's not too long till I can finish off the plague heart. And then it's time to scarper, but don't worry, I made sure to loot the gas launcher off the red Talon corpse. It may come in handy later in the challenge, we'll have to wait and see. The next heart is in a train station, and we start off with having to deal with another crackhead. I then claim the first phase and drop a pipe bomb, which should do a decent job of clearing the crowds in that tight and awkward room. I then make my way onto the train's flatbed, as we figured out in a previous livestream that zombies can't work out a way to get here. Very handy, especially as there's a juggernaut nearby. So with the crowds gathered, I pick a spot and go for a run, straight towards the plague heart, where I complete the second phase. In fact, once I loop around the outside of the building, I can head back in and finish the job. But you know what they say, no rest for the wick. Full stop, end of sentence. There's another plague heart just around the corner, and things get off to a good start as I complete the first phase rather quickly, but being the greedy shit I am, I continue to beat it, which ends in me getting gassed. I then charge outside and completely fuck up a molly throw. Honestly, I have no idea how to even explain that one, but luckily I'm packing plenty, so can use one to dispatch the rest of the bloaters. And with that, it's not much longer before the plague heart falls. I'm rewarded decently, although I do wonder why I keep grabbing all the material sacks. Then while trying to escape, I end up stamping out the face of a zombie, which gives a triple pack of blood ferals the chance to get me. Certainly not great for my longevity, but somehow I managed to escape the clutches of death and jab myself with a cure. Okay, this is our first triple pack we faced on the foot, and I'm bitching it. I climb onto the car, because I'm too heavy to be dealing with this shit. So from the roof of the car, I deal with the crackheads, and it seems like someone can't count, as that's only 2, you bloody moron. But don't worry, the triple packs are certainly coming. My next stop is back at base, as I have an absolute shit ton to unload. Then on my way to take on more plague hearts, I stop by a distress call to help out a stranger. Although I'd say his distress calls were a bit over-exaggerated, as there wasn't even a single zombie in the same building as him. But yeah, sure, whatever, I'll give you a lift home. And it's a good thing I'm a solo survivor, as they're set up in my preferred base for Providence Ridge. So on this occasion, I'll let you keep it. Now it's time for a bit of a speed run to knock down these sacks of shit, starting off at this retail park. Although we get off to a horrible start as I complete the first phase and set it on fire, before immediately walking straight into a high toxicity bloater. Certainly not great, but somehow I guess even worse. That could have worked terrible. Oh my god! I desperately fight myself free, but now I'm trapped between a bloater cloud and a feral. I see only one way out, and that's to burn it all to the ground. Then out in the open, I can face the crazed beast head on. A single shot stuns it, and I can finish it off with a knife to the face. But other than that, the plague heart goes down dead easy. Okay, ignoring that, now the plague heart can go down dead easy. Jesus Fucking Christ. Slightly north, I discover the next heart in a house, but this one actually does go down with no issues. In fact, so does the next one I face in a warehouse. But at that point, it's on to the unfinished housing estate. And usually there's a couple around here, but on this occasion it's just the one. And I complete the first phase just as a feral decides to join the fun. And after roly-polying away from his attack and popping a headshot twice, he'll take just one more shot to send the bastard to Hades himself. Oh shit, no! Honestly, I've lost count with how many cures I've used so far, and we've still got 13 play carts remaining, and another 3 maps we gotta get through. If I don't start being more careful, I could very well run out of resources before we get to the finale. But that's a problem for the future. For now, I'm focused on removing the Blood Plague in Providence Ridge. That's the 18th heart taken care of, but now I need to head back home to unload our spoils of war. But then we've gotta head back to South Hobson as we've gotta intervene with 2 dickheads squabbling. John from the Scattered Survivors is like, these dickheads are trying to steal my shit, while Stuart of the Tenants is like, I killed a single zombie and these pricks accuse me of stealing their goods. So like all good leaders do, I follow Solomon's judgment and cut a child in half. Wait, neither of them had a kid? Well, who the fuck did I just cut in half? Please scratch my earlier comments from the record. I side with Stuart, then make our way to attack our next playcard. But unfortunately, before I can complete the first phase, a crackhead rocks up. I can drop a molly to slow him down, but significant damage has already been done. 3 headshots takes him out, but those unsuppressed gunshots just attracts a friend. And this one takes significantly longer to deal with as we're slightly unsynchronized. I roll too late to avoid his attack, but then I'm too close to get the kill. But once he's gone, I head back to the heart before realizing there are too many zombies, so I drop a molly and escape. But the escape is about as successful as my YouTube career, and now I'm once again a whisker for Blood Plague. But hey, at least I heard the heart complete the phase, which is handy as when I head back in, upload the pops in close proximity, and I light it up to complete the heart's second phase. And then another feral rocks up, but this time I'm ready and waiting. Good night, you meffed up bitch. A couple of more hits then kills the placard, and then we can make our way to the next. It's in a little house, and I'm still carrying all the loot from the previous heart, which would be fine if a juggernaut wasn't there waiting for me. We've also been lucky enough to get a broken heart curveball, but we'll get to that later. For now, I've got to lead a fat fuck far away from my car. Once I've led him to the main road, I spot a gap in the rocks and dash back to my car where I deposit the heavy stuff. But then with me being nice and light, it shouldn't be too difficult for me to take down the placard, except I usually go about things the hard way. With the heart phasing, I dip and try to burn it with a molly, except as I drop it, I get bit as everything bursts into flames and my health drops faster than if I was dating Diddy. Oh yeah, and I also got infected, but you probably could have worked that out by now. Not much longer later, the placard falls, and I head off without collecting any loot. Then it's time to take on the broken heart. A broken heart is much weaker than normal, it doesn't call to the undead for defense, and the zombies in the area are much more lethargic, which effectively makes this one a freebie. But seeing as we're right at the bottom of Providence, it only makes sense for our next move to take back Prescott, which starts off pretty well as I take down the heart on the edge of town with no issues, but it was close enough to the previous broken heart that I still had some of the lazy pricks loitering around. But this is where things start to get a bit ridiculous. I pull up next to a billboard to scout about, just as a horde with a juggernaut and a feral happened to be wandering past. Thankfully, I managed to drop off the building materials rucksack I collected from the previous playcart. However, I'm still carrying a spare AK-47, which means I'm too heavy to maintain my unlimited sprint. And I'm also trapped on top of this billboard with a juggernaut and feral beneath me. My car is also low on fuel, but even if it wasn't, it would be too risky to try and drive it away. I need a new plan. Firstly, I take out the feral from the billboard, then I toss myself off the lower level, sacrificing a smidge of damage. I can then sprint towards the police station where there happens to be a placard, where I complete the first phase just as the hordes start to catch me. I can then drop a frag, which does a good job of clearing those hordes, as I take the second phase of the placard and drop a fuel bomb, which definitely sort of might slightly set me on fire. Then with some of the worst timing imaginable, oh, triple pack! Oh, I'm not taking any fucking risks! Thankfully, Butterfingers over here doesn't fall anymore, and rather wastefully takes out all 3 ferals. And if it seems like I was rushing, I absolutely was. There was also a juggernaut on the way. We got these guys over here, they're neutrals. I'm just gonna lead all the zombies to them, they might be able to help. But to be honest, help is very subjective. For example, I help myself to their toolkit, then sell them my empty AK. But before I head back to the placard, I shoot the bell in the bell tower to distract the hordes. Surprisingly, this works exceptionally well, and I'm completely alone by the time I take out the heart. Also very happy happy to find a medikit. My health was looking a bit ropey. I can then make it back to my car, and once it's repaired and refueled, it's good to be back mobile. The next heart is in the mayor's house on the edge of town, and that goes down without an issue. Providing you ignore me getting infected, of course, but let's face it, at this point, blood plague is like the common cold. I then turn my attention to an army and navy store, and that one actually does go down with no problems. I even turn it into an upgraded outpost with landmines after I've abandoned the petrol station I claimed earlier. Then I've got to head to the opposite edge of town to take on another heart, and thankfully it goes down without any issues. If you'd like to see things in more detail, I'll leave a link to the live streams in the description. Then with only 4 hearts remaining in Providence Ridge, we make our way to the final heart that's in Prescott. Although before we start, I'm being chased by a crackhead, so 1 second, let me stick in reverse. Good night, you little prick.
Who's the hunter now, huh?
It's me, Mario. I'm able to get a couple of hits off before I hear another feral. Let's just hope it's just the one. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, no, it's now triple pack time. And I've had enough of virgins in the comment section doubting my abilities. You shouldn't climb onto a car even if your stamina is completely empty. Well, this one's for all the haters. Spelt with a Z. Well, it's time to dip, dive, and dodge my way through these pricks and prove to everyone once and for all, I am the lethal zone god. One more roly-poly and a quick headshot ends the final feral. And the next thing they'll say is I'm using an overpowered character and overly reliant on gunslinger. Christ, there's just no pleasing some people. Do you complain that Manchester City are over-reliant on a sport washing project to hide blood money? Of course not, because you've never met a Man City fan in real life. I forget the point I was trying to make, but anyway, that's our 27th play card taken care of. With 3 play cards remaining, I've now got to go and sort out another dispute between 2 enclaves. John is complaining Stuart keeps pulling her gun on him whenever he walks past, and Stuart's response is the bastard keeps drawing zombies to her front door, so fair enough, get fucked, John. Honestly, this sheriff shit is fucking easy. I don't know why the police are always complaining how hard they've got it. Anyway, it's time to crack on and finish off the blood plague in Providence Ridge. What the fuck? I'm just grateful I still got a door. The next heart goes down without any issues. But while I'm waiting for the crowds to disperse so I can loot it, another triple pack has decided they want to ruin my day. But it seems on this occasion things are going to be significantly harder, as they're now attacking in formation. I managed to get my first of 3 headshots, then dodged the other 2. I then drop my final molly, which slows 2 of them down, and allows me to stun the third with a gunshot, although I don't risk the execution. The other 2 are now back in the action, and if we get tackled here, it's likely nights out for Wick well before he can reach his peak. Desperate for space to get a couple of headshots, I drop a fuel bomb, which only slightly singes me in the process. But once the flames have subsided, I start spraying, which takes out the first feral and removes the armor off the second. 1 more headshot finishes him off, and then I can just spray and pay the final blood feral. Holy shit! Holy shit is correct. Talk about squeaky bum time. I literally had 1 bullet remaining in my AK. I'm lucky enough to get another first aid kit from the heart, then we can make our way to the penultimate one. Ignore the car being knackered, there's a spare toolkit in the back. I complete the first phase, then drop a fuel bomb, before heading back in to complete the second phase just as a feral rocks up. But to be honest, I'm just grateful it's not another triple pack, although we do get a second to join the fun, but that's not until moments after we've taken down the first. But he's dealt with easy enough, and then soon after, so is the play card. Just 1 more left in Providence Ridge. So now all I've got to do is get to and eliminate the final play card, which is going to be significantly harder after a juggernaut has decided to fuck up my pickup. Honestly, what a prick like. But to be honest, at this point there's very little he can do to prevent my victory. He's just been an irritating little twat and slowing me down. After taking him on 1 giant loop and cutting through the horse corral, I can repair my vehicle with a toolkit I had in the boot. Or trunk, if you're American. Then just like that, we can head to the Providence West Supply Center, where we can pretty simply take down the final plague card. Stop looking at my infection meter, I definitely didn't get plague once again. And with the blood plague defeated, it's time to crack on with finding Wick's brother, starting by paying a visit to the scattered survivors. And I didn't side with them on either of the times I've had the option to, so giving them plague samples is the least I can do. And just like that, we're now friends. And I can't wait to see what will blossom from our newfound friendship. Let's get some love for Johnny Boy in the comment section. It's only taken 2 maps, but I'm now completely out of 5.56 ammo and 7.62 rounds. But luckily I do have plenty of 45 caliber, so I equipped the Spec Ops SMG. Oh, hang on, I'm not having any of that shit. I'm a loud and proud kind of lad, so I swap out the suppressor for a professional break. I then get a message from Leffer of the Tenants over the radio, so make my way over there to see what she wants. She's like, you know those guys I've been arguing with this entire time? Well, it's been a while since I've heard of them, maybe we should go check on them. So imagine my surprise when I turn up, and John and his friends have joined the army of the undead. God damn it, if only I knew someone with a motive. Someone who quite famously didn't get along with him. Anyway, with them clearly not having any use for it, I loot all of their shit. I find a plethora of useful stuff like smoke bombs and flares. But I also find something weird, a note labelled Rally Point. And I recognise the handwriting, it's the same as the flyer that was calling me a tyrant in Mika Valley. Those guys knew something about Wick's brother but refused to tell him about it. I've got to follow this lead, so make my way to the coordinates I found on the note. Although something seems off. Why the hell would they be meeting at a service station toilet? I can't imagine they're looking to collect STDs. It turns out it was a trap to get us far away from Stuart's base so they could sweep in and attack. So we speed back as fast as we can, and luckily Wick has faced these guys in the past. So he rolls into action and obliterates the bastards faster than you can say surrender now, you bellends. But unfortunately we weren't able to get any information out of them, mainly due to Wick's itchy trigger finger. So while I think over my next move, I decide to help out a stranded survivor who's had all of her friends killed by the grocery traders. And a long time ago Wick worked as a specialist for this kind of thing, so agrees to help her get her revenge. Although before we can get her revenge, we get a radio message from our villains. They're currently in Drucker County where the blood plague has got out of control. And as we've cleared Providence, they plan on taking it from us. They claim they have an army of dozens and they'll be sending a special team to eliminate us all so they can move in safely. Don't threaten violence when your name's fucking Norbert. You must have got bullied when you were a child. I'm sorry. In order to stop these bastards from ruining all our hard work, we need to unite the enclaves and prepare for battle. So for now, Darla's revenge mission is taking a back seat. Quite literally. I chat to Leffer of the tenants and she has my back. And so too does Arnie of the local rangers. However, he also mentioned that there were some new guys in town and I should check in with them. I'm pretty sure they'll be well up for a fight. Their leader's name is Psycho. And it's true, they absolutely were up for a fight. Unfortunately, that fight was directed at me.
It's time for you to die!
They were the scouting party sent by the baddies. And as a general piece of advice, it's probably going to take a lot more than 3 scrawny knobheads to take out the bloke that's just eliminated the blood plague in 2 different towns. But hey, nice try. Thank you for playing. I'm almost certain they'll be back with more numbers and I'll need to be ready. Not only will this town fall and good people will lose their lives, but they know something about my missing brother and I'll do anything to find him. But for now, it's time to blow off some steam and enact Darla's vengeance. Although, to be fair, Darla doesn't really do a lot. I'm the first inside and double tap a stranger to the face, and the second guy is corner camping upstairs. Well, corner camp against this, you little prick. Good night and God bless. I then asked Darla if she'll stay and fight in the up and coming war, but she's like, absolutely not, I'll see you later, big boy. Fuck's sake, that shit was cold. And speaking of war, the baddies are back and ready for battle. They've hunkered down on the edge of Sawyer's Crossing and are planning their first assault. It's time to put an end to their tirade once and for all. But before I go to war, the local rangers have asked me to pop in as they've had a whip around and got me something to help the fight. I guess that means you're not fighting alongside me then. Okay. And you wouldn't believe what they've given me to fight a full-blown war. 6 pissing firecrackers. Are you fucking kidding me, Susie? Are you fucking kidding me, Susie? Of all the things you got on you, you've got frag grenades, you've got remote box mines, you've got regular box mines, you've got fuel, and you decide to give me firecrackers. Honestly, I've never been more insulted in my life. Although that does give me an idea. So I head to my supply locker and collect the 2 jars of zombie I own. And with that is on to our last stand against tyranny. I will kill every single one of these bastards until I find my brother. I start by trying to weaponize the undead by tossing the zombie through the open door. Although the results were pathetic at best. Luckily I have a backup plan. 50 cal to the face. I also down a second that's loitering around the rear. Then another that's retreating away from me. There's a woman shooting at me from the stairs, but once again a single shot downs her. But rather surprisingly she's not dead, so I pull off the greatest overkill that's ever been posted to the internet. I make my way onto the rooftop and Norbert and his remaining allies are on the next level above. So I toss a molly to keep them busy and climb the ladder. They immediately go for the cheap shot, but luck must be on my side as they missed, and I blast one of their friends point blank with a 50 cal. 2 more left as I take cover behind some boxes and return fire, leaving only Norbert remaining. Just the 2 of us left to battle it out on the rooftop like we're in an early 2000s superhero movie. But truthfully, I know Norbert isn't the head of this operation. He was simply too easily dealt with. No, if I want to finish this properly, I must head to Drucker County next. They said there was dozens of them and we've barely taken out 10. If we can take Drucker County back from the blood plague and kill all the hostiles, maybe, just maybe, we can find Wick's brother and finally settle down. But Drucker County was so much worse than we could have imagined. Not only does he have 30 already awoken plague hearts to deal with, but also 30 hostile enclaves that need to be eliminated in the hope of finding a clue about where or what happened to his brother. Wick has once again changed his clothes to match the goal at hand, absolute destruction. And once he started our building projects, them being the same setup as the last two maps, he makes his way to set up several outposts in order to keep his supplies going strong while he tackles the blood plague. Outpost number 1 is this gun shop, outpost 2 is this nearby medical centre, and outpost 3 is this petrol station down the road. All of which have been upgraded to level 2, which is the highest upgrade I can do without learning additional quirk skills. We do also have a 4th outpost slot available thanks to the signal antenna we found in Providence, and we'll be using that slot going forward as an emergency base to refill our resources or drop off loot depending on where we are in Drucker. Now finally we head to the first plague heart of Drucker County. But rather foolishly, Wick has forgotten the one thing he's been relying on this entire time, his bloody heavy shovel. I suppose that's what you get when you celebrate your second victory of the blood plague with a full bottle of tequila, you daft bastard. But Wick is still overly confident in his abilities, and to send shivers down the spines of his enemies, he decides to end the first heart entirely only using his combat knife. The baddies of Drucker County will learn to fear the man some call the boogeyman. Although some would refer to the boogeyman as a delightfully tasteful snack. And just like that, we're nearly infected before taking down the first plague heart. I'm sure you'll agree it's not a great position to be in. We haven't even taken down the first phase, for fuck's sake. But then again, I always look at the first heart as the warm-up. Get your mistakes out of the way early doors, then you can divide and conquer the rest. So at the moment, the strategy is to outrun the plague heads, get a couple of hits on the heart, then retreat before repeating myself. Over and over again, may I add. This works great until a crackhead decides to join the fun. At that point, I lead the beast outside and shoot it several times in the face. What? I said I was going to take down the plague heart with close combat, not ferals. I haven't got a bloody death wish. Anyway, after my best estimate of hitting the heart 69,000 times, I finally complete the first phase. Just another 2 more to go. Then while it's spewing out its toxic gases, I lead the hordes to a nearby house to lose them in. I loop back around and start hitting the heart once again. Once the crowds overwhelm me, I yeet myself out of the window, kill a crackhead, then go back to beating. Well, more accurately stabbing. And surprisingly, we complete the second phase rather quickly. We then end up in another roly-poly battle with another crackhead, but obviously I come out on top. Then once again, after I've led them all away, I can get back to the heart for some romantic one-on-one time that ends in an explosive climax, and still no infection for me. And on that note, I think it's time to get out of here. The next plague heart is in a house nearby, and you'll be glad to know Wick has rediscovered his shovel. He left it in the boot, the silly bastard. So this heart should go down without a fight, am I right? Oh yes, no problems whatsoever. Oh shit, oh shit. Oh well, what's one more infection considering how many times we were infected in Providence, right? Anyway, I can dodge my way back in and complete the second phase with the Spec Ops Vector, or as a lot of people would more accurately describe it as the Plague Heart Melter. It's a shame I'm trying to save my ammo for the human contingent of this map, seeing as there are so many. Although if I could find a handgun press facility mod, that would be amazing going forward so I could reliably craft the 45 caliber rounds this gun needs. But for now, as a Juggernaut is about to turn my car into a plaything, I think it's probably for the best to use the ammo on this occasion so we can get out as quick as possible. Anyway, before I head back to base, I stopped by the first plague heart we took down, but just so I could collect all of its loot. And once the goods have been dropped off at a nearby outpost and the car has been repaired, I start to form a strategy. Let's kill them, that, and then we're gonna go this way around. So with the cycle of violence very much in play, we make our way to the first hostile enclave we'll be dealing with. This could be a seriously deadly mission with one wrong move costing us not only Wick's life but the entire run. Lethal hostiles are capable of downing you with a single shot. This is not something to be taken lightly. However, it seems our earlier intimidation tactics worked out, as they're quaking in their boots as Wick drops in and removes them from the face of the earth without even stopping to ask about his brother. It's all about sending a message to the rest of the hostiles. The boogeyman is coming for you. But due to my loud and proud nature, there's no time to loot the corpses, we've just got to get out of there. But we don't have to go far, as just down the road is our next plague heart. The first phase gets completed simple enough by wedging myself in the corner and simply timing my swings between the heart and the other zombies. I also tossed a Molotov behind me for that residual damage, so when I go back in, the second phase comes even quicker. Speaking of coming quicker, a bloater then blows his load as I try to escape. But thankfully fire is my ally and does a great job of clearing out the hordes on the inside. Not that it matters, as I now have to deal with a crackhead and my loud ass refuses to use suppressors. Although that does mean the loud gunshots have drawn the majority of the knobheads outside, so once again Wick can prove how strong his palms are. I'm rewarded with some decent loot for my efforts, then head 2 houses over to eliminate more hostile scumbags. But once again, very little room for interrogation. I'm basically the CIA in the 60s, 70s, 80s? You know what? I'm basically just the CIA, but with considerably less forced drug addiction in minority neighborhoods. You might be thinking, but Jay, you shouldn't be forcing any drug addiction onto anybody, especially minorities. And you'd be correct, but there is one minority group I'd love to see high as a bloody kite, and that's the boomers. If anyone needs to chill the fuck out, it's them angry twats. You might also be thinking, Jay, boomers aren't a minority. Well, they certainly will be soon, as they're all dying out from high blood pressure. Being that angry all the time isn't good for you, so make sure to hug your nan tonight, as tomorrow she might pop with rage. I feel I might have gone off topic slightly, but that's alright. I very quickly complete the first 2 phases of the play card. Oh look! That's the guy I just murdered! Huh. Oh shit! And that's a guy who's trying to currently murder me. Well, very many better people have tried and failed, and so does this feral. But with that, a few more swings ends the play card. I then take a trip back to base to unload and sort out the infection meter with infection therapy. I can then head straight back to where I just come from, but in considerably better condition. Our next targets are an enclave opposite the play card, and I'm hoping by taking on the play card first, the hostiles will help keep the undead busy, and hopefully take more damage in the process, making them easier to deal with later. But to be honest, I think they might have been a bit too far away to have an impact, as you might be able to tell from the amount of dickheads trying to feast on my flesh. But either way, the heart goes down without any further issues, and then I can turn my attention to the hostiles. And for some reason, I've gone back to stealth mode, which goes well. Oh god. But hey, you know what they say, your revenge is a dish best served via SMG. Another set of hostiles meet in their maker, and due to this map now being more overly populated than an Indian locomotive, the next target is just around the corner. Where the fucking hell did you just come from? Well, with all 30 play cards awake, infestations are starting to spread like a priest's herpes through Sunday school. And we just so happen to have a level 3 infestation right between a play cart and a hostile enclave. Well, you probably already know what I'm thinking, but I know exactly what to do with that juggernaut. Worst case scenario, the hostiles take it out and I get whatever loot is dropped, as is from an infestation. And best case scenario, it takes out the hostiles while I deal with the play cart. That is assuming he isn't taking part in industrial action, of course. Is it like just time for lunch or something, Jug? Yeah, that's convenient in a juggernaut, that you're just currently taking 5 off while you know, I'm not being attacked. So with the Juggernaut being a bigger disappointment than I am to my parents, I turn my attention to the play cart. I quite quickly complete the first phase, then drop a molly to set it on fire, which burns up all the Zeds, and I can sneak back in and complete the second phase. I can then go for a jog to lead away the hordes, kill a crackhead, then finally finish off the play cart. And seeing as the Juggernaut is still refusing to do his bit for the good of my cause, it's time to spray and pay my way through more hostiles. Although the last really does take more back shots than Mia Khalifa. God damn that will to survive, don't they know I'm running on a limited ammo supply over here? Thankfully I get another toolkit from the play cart's husk, which is handy as if our car smokes anymore, it won't be the Zeds that kill Wick, it'll be the Emphysema. My next stop will be taking on 2 hostile enclaves and a play cart. The first of which being this group of 3 that has the survival instincts of a panda and just charge straight into my gunfire. Good night you feeble pricks, the WWF ain't gonna save you now. I always thought it was strange the World Wrestling Federation was in charge of saving endangered animals. Straight to the next enclave, but I don't even give them a chance for response. Don't worry about all this innocent blood being spilt, they're all guilty by association. I can then head over to the play cart down the road and take it out, but the fight has left me closer to a deadly disease than 2010 Charlie Sheen. That leaves me with a difficult decision to make. Do I waste more fuel on another trip back to base to use the infirmary, or do I just say fuck it and use up a plague cure in the next 10 minutes? Although I suppose I could try and, you know, not be hit by a plague Zed, but let's be honest, that's not gonna happen. For now I decide to turn this petrol station into an upgraded outpost so I can drop off my loot and refill my sack. Then it's off to continue my murder spree. But if I'm being honest, this time is just a lonely member, although he is right next to a play cart. Fuck knows what he did to get that kind of security detail. He's either stupid or the big bosses despise him. And while I'm on my way to my next destination, I run into a triple pack of ferals and decide to take him out Fast and Furious style, with sick drifts. That was tactically inept, in all honesty. That was tactically inept. I've just lost my favourite door, the one that keeps me alive from those blood ferals. As usual, I park a safe distance away, then head inside to attack the play cart and complete the first phase, before setting it on fire and going hell for leather with the Vector. I guess I didn't get the memo for trying to save ammo. A feral then bursts in as I throw myself out of the window, which then results in me getting infected. Damn, that was a lot less than 10 minutes. But don't worry, I'm always carrying plenty of cures on me, which is handy as my magazine runs out with one shot away from taking it out, and once again I take massive infection. infection damage. I then struggled to reload and instead tried burning everything alive in order to give me time to slide in that magazine. And I certainly didn't cinch myself in that process. But thankfully I do get enough time to reload and finish off the crackhead. That definitely could have been better, chap. That definitely could have gone better. I then take out the lonely hostile easy as you'd like, abandon the previous fuel outpost and turn this medical tent into an outpost instead. My thought process here was I'm currently only breaking even on my medical resources, with the infirmary costing 2 a day and my other upgraded outpost only supplying the same. And as meds are the resource I'm currently using the most of, I think I need to make sure there's plenty available. I can then afford to take a few minutes to loot the entire area, including the plague cart we just took down. Then I can make my way to more hostiles. On second thought, that's a pretty nasty looking wandering horde. Let's lead them back to my incendiary landmine field. Now it's back to attacking hostiles. Oh, crap's sake, he just took out my other door, I've just put a repair kit on there. Honest to God. I then try letting the feral with a few other knobheads it's attracted to deal with the hostiles, but they can't quite put it off as well as our trained badass over here. Even a pop bloater couldn't take out the poor bastard. There we go. That's got to deal with him, surely. He's right in the center of that cloud. Honestly, at this point, I'm starting to feel sorry for him. No, not you. You can get the shovel to the face. I then deal with the hostile the old-fashioned way, and immediately get out of there heading towards the unfinished houses on top of the mountain. There's a plague cart in one of them, but unfortunately, there's also an infestation. Luckily, the feral from that infestation glitches through my car and takes a rather permanent nap, so I can nice and easily head and deal with the plague cart. Okay, maybe not. Luckily I got plenty of cures, blah blah blah, look how many bloody zombies are after me. Then it's time to approve my application into goat status by taking down the first phase without a single touch, then burning the pricks pursuing me. I then headshot the bloater so it doesn't pop, loop around the infestation and drop a molly on said bloater for maximum damage to the hordes that have been attracted to my gunfire. Proving once and for all, my tactical intelligence knows no bounds, and everyone in the comment section should say something nice about me. Please. I'm desperate for attention. And from here I take down the plague cart with no further issues, only taking partial infection damage in the process. But we take those. From there I take down another enclave pretty simply, but mainly because SMGs tend to do a lot better than rusty pipes. But this is where shit could get serious. Our next objective is to capture a really small area that has 4 plague carts and 4 hostile enclaves in. And to make things worse, there's also a level 3 infestation. But I think I might be able to use that to my advantage. I think it might be finally time to use the biochem station we picked up in Mega. So with me armed more diabolically than a James Bond villain, I head off to break the Geneva Convention. Firstly paying a visit to Second's auto repair with the level 3 infestation is. I then intend on leading the Juggernaut hordes and whatever other nasty shit is in there directly towards the enclaves. Sure, this makes things much more dangerous, but I've got scent block to make me invisible to the zombie assault. And with that scent block active, I lob a zombie through the window. Then with all the undead in the area flocking towards that enclave of 3, I turn my attention to the plague cart. And with scent block active, it's barely an inconvenience. Although when a hostile tries chasing me down, we do get a good submission into the out of context J. Talbot. That guy's trying to come for me. I obviously ignore the threat and leave him to be munched on, then drop a second zombie through the neighbour's window. I can then once again turn my attentions to another plague cart, and you can probably predict exactly how that goes. Unfortunately, that second zombie only managed to deal with one of the hostiles, so it's time to whip out the gas launcher. However, the one manages to wriggle his way out, so I've got to put him down the old-fashioned way, with his back facing me, running away scared. Wait, is Wick the baddie of this run? No, of course not, don't be ridiculous. I then go face to face with another hostile, and it's fair to say they were overconfident.
Oh, I am so gonna...
No, please continue what you were about to say. What were you about to finish? The scent block then wears off as I head to the enclave furthest north and finish them all off with a perfectly timed gas grenade. Did I just get all 3 of them in one? Oh my god. That was an amazing shot. 2 plague carts and 1 enclave left. Of this little small mini section, that is. Overall, we've still got 19 hearts left. I decide to take out the plague cart nearest me first, as that makes more logical sense. The first of which goes down with no problem, so I turn my attention onto the hostiles. 2 of which are dealt with the gas launcher, then the final roly-polies his way into my burst fire. Better luck next time, providing you believe in reincarnation, of course. Then it's immediately onto this next plague cart that's in this medical centre. I start things off by dropping a wily peak grenade as it forms a smoke barrier which the Zeds can't see through. However, this doesn't exactly go to plan, as I immediately set myself on fire pretty severely. But hey, at least my moronic ways caused the first phase. I then tried to prematurely take the second phase, but end up gassing myself. Perhaps that's karma in all fairness. A Juggernaut has also decided to come play, so it's a good thing I've parked my car far away. Oh, you what the fuck? That is some first grade bullshit. So I head back inside, but I'm forced to deal with a crackhead. But that's fine, as with him out of the way, it's pretty simple to deal with the rest of the heart. And with that massive success under our belt, it's time to head back to base to drop off all of our loot, and probably sort out our health while we're there. Although being the moron I am, that might have slipped my mind. As I make my way to the area we'll next be clearing. And at this point you might be thinking, now you've got access to some serious grade chemical warfare, doesn't this make the whole challenge rather redundant? Well, not really, as that stuff is all really expensive to craft, and I'd rather keep hold of my resources for other solutions that would go much further. It's all about getting the most bang for your buck. I deal with a feral, quickly followed by another, before watching a horde devour the final hostiles. The play card is also down due to a damage multiplier glitch earlier. Again, no idea how or why it happens, no matter how many times people explain it to me in the comment section. So I immediately head to the next play card, which is in this factory building. Although it does seem like we're back to that stage where I'm dodging triple packs like celebrities are dodging questions about Epstein's flight logs. Woohoo, baby! Let's just keep moving. Don't get me wrong, it takes many serious roly-poly fights. Alright, we got one down. But powered by painkillers and a lust for blood, we get the job done. Right, there we go. And number 3 is dead too. And with those bastards out of the way, it's pretty easy to finish off the heart from there. And it really looks like I'm ignoring the memo to save ammo. What a bloody prick. The next heart is in a tartan mart just down the road, and by the time I've taken it out, I'm once again very close to infection. Yeah, a lot fewer plague zombies in this area. Woo, have I got enough stuff to take on the next one? You goddamn right we have. The next plague cart is in a farm down the road, and that goes down easily, not even a smidge of movement in my infection meter. But at this point, it would probably be a good time to head back to use the infirmary. At least my injuries have been sorted though with a first aid kit I found in a play cart. So once my partial infection has been removed, I set my next destination and Vin Diesel my way over there. I shoot 2 dickheads in the face, and you wouldn't believe it, they were living with a bloody play cart. Well, seeing as we're here, it would be rude not to take it out, but I can honestly say I've never seen that before. If you've ever seen something as daft as that, let me know in the comment section. The play cart goes down with no issues, however I get a big issue when I try to loot it. Right, where's the bloater? Oh, Jesus! Did anyone see that? Am I going blind? Blind or not, I think it's time to move on. The next is just up the road, and it too goes down with no problems. And I even managed to loot it without running through a bloater. Oh, baby. Also, I'm getting the wrong way. Jesus Christ. Well, running into it after looting obviously doesn't count, right? Now it's time to face our next big challenge. You may have noticed on the last few hearts, a lot of the zombies have had purple eyes from a curveball. Well, that curveball is out for blood. Plague's heads deal more damage, they're melee resistant, and are running around wildly. Do you think I can blame that on the previous 2 bloater incidents? To prevent this, I've got to take down the plague artist connected to. The only problem with that is there happens to be 2 hostile enclaves right across the road. So basically, we're in for a tough time. But as long as I can keep moving and hopefully direct the hordes that are attracted to me towards the hostiles, we should be okay. Things start off according to plan as I take the first phase of the plague cart. Then once all the plague Zeds are after me, it's time to shift them onto the hostiles by running down the street that separates them. Let's hope they don't start shooting. I try sneaking around the back just as a feral decides to join the chase. Well, I don't want it on me as I take on the heart, so I've got to lead it towards the knobheads. Oh shit! Oh, thank you for shooting the feral for me. No! The feral tackled me in the most dangerous part of the map, but luckily I can fight through. Okay. Oh, no, 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 no! A single shot removes my remaining health as a feral munches at my cheeks. But being the beast he is, Wick can shake it off. No! Only to get immediately one shot once again. And to make things worse, we're now infected, and our injuries are piling up. Oh, God, this might be it. After all that effort, all for nothing. Clearing meager, defeating warlords, fighting off all of the infection after infection in Providence Ridge. We've cleared 2/3 of Drucker County and taken dozens of lives in the process. Wick will never find his brother, and the mystery of who he is will never be told. He's been the champion of champions, but I guess this was all too much as he slowly slips away in the middle of the street, alone. So very alone. Is what I should be saying. But our boy Wick shall not be defeated, least of all by a bloody crackhead. Somehow he finds his feet and fights on to live another day. Okay, I've no idea how we lived, but we did. And with the cure injected and painkillers fighting off the gunshot wounds, we crack on. So once I've removed the face of the feral, I take down the plague art, and for now we'll be ignoring those hostiles. Them getting that close to killing me will send a message of hope to my enemies. And hope is something that should be squashed with extreme violence. The last thing we need is a boost in morale, making our challenge that much more difficult. It's times like these that separate the weak from the stupid. So by the time we've taken care of the plague art, as if on cue, a juggernaut has decided to investigate. And you can probably guess exactly what I'm gonna do with that Juggernaut. Hey, Juggy, you so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Juggy. What? No, don't serenade the bastard. Oh, God. No. Oh, great, there's 3 of them. 3 at my back and 4 hostiles up my front. And 1 Juggernaut acting like he's P. Diddy. Does anyone know what I could do? You're supposed to be the streamer, you twat. Fucking figure it out. In a masterstroke of ingenious thinking, I climb a ladder onto the gun store. But that means the ferals turn their attention to the next available meat source. Munch away, you drug-riddled bastards. That's fine by me. One of the problems will deal with the other. And that's okay with me. My next plan is to turn this gun store into an outpost. But first I've got to make room to abandon the gun store I claimed earlier. And surprisingly I don't face any opposition. Although I probably set the landmines prematurely, and that almost certainly saved the life of the final hostile. But if anything, it only delays the inevitable, even if the bastards can teleport. Although it turns out this safe space isn't too safe, as I burst in and start smacking the prick with my shovel. Over and over again, not caring if this is wasting my shovel's durability, not caring about the time it takes or the repetitive strain injury I'll sustain. It's about sending a message to the rest of the hostiles of Drucker County. Wick is coming for you. Oh yeah, this is gonna take fucking forever. There we go. I dealt with that. Okay, instead, I guess I could just send them an abusive tweet or something. Kill that, then that. Look, it's like a massive game of join the dot. Dot to dot. And that is exactly what we do. I kill crackheads, avoid Juggernaut charges, but ultimately the play carts fall. Even getting a first aid kit as a reward. We decimate hostile after hostile. Everyone who stands in my way shall fall.
You ready to die?
I'm not ready to die. Are you ready to die? Another play cart, even more hostiles. If I didn't care for ad revenue so much, I'd be playing Queen's Don't Stop Me Now. Actually, I suppose if I sing it out of tune, the copyright system won't screw me. On second thoughts, after recording the first 30 seconds, that was an absolutely terrible idea. Nope, not happening. No. But I suppose if the whole series gets like 69,000 likes, I could release a cover for the meme. Also, how lucky was I to miss that bloater there? Everything you just seen there was mathematically calculated in my brain. We're A-okay. So I head to a new area of the map that has 1 play cart and 3 hostile enclaves. But looking at my infection meter, I'm gonna have to be very bloody careful. We start with me balls deep in a horde, and I really need to make sure I'm pronouncing the D there. I complete the phase, then drop a pipe bomb before burning the entire place down with a fuel bomb, which does a great job of clearing the entire horde, and guess who's still not infected? Oh, what the fuck? Where did you come from? Oh, for crying out loud. I suppose that's my fault for forgetting about the ankle biters. But with no further issues, the heart goes down and I head across the road to deal with the hostiles. And don't get me wrong, they know how to take a bullet to the face. Just not quite well enough. We then continue the most violent game of dot to dot in human history by simply crossing the street and shooting even more dickheads in the face. And you wouldn't bloody believe it, they were also living with a play cart. But I didn't realise it at first, so I made my way to deal with more hostiles. And apparently these guys don't need a roof over their heads, as they're basing at a cell tower. I then get hit by a stray and it removes nearly all of my health. And to make things worse, I'm completely out of all of my medication. And there's a feral on the way. Well, if it ever rains, it fucking pours. Thankfully, I remembered I left some in the play cart I just took out. Admittedly, it was only 1, but we take those. Although I do find 2 more in the van outside. But that does make me wonder who the hell would actually pop a random pill you found in a decaying husk. Sounds like someone is asking for a leaky bottom. Let's see who's dealt with each other. There was a feral there and there was a hostile enclave. It looks like they're both still there. It looks like there's a 2-on-1, so I level the playing field and the feral takes the win. But now is probably a good time to leave him to it, so I retreat back to the car and realise there's another play cart in the area. That's when the penny drops. Wait, this is where the hostiles were. Again! That's the second time that's happened. What the bloody hell is going on with these hostiles in Drucker then? Bastards are the blood plague. Well, that's a plot twist and a half, innit? I get the win over the play cart doing what I do best, and our speedy boy doesn't even get lukewarm. After all that, we now only have 4 play carts remaining and 6 enclaves that need eradicating. For one last time, let's take back Drucker and eliminate these bastards. Once the first phase is finished, I drop a fuel bomb that clears the house, then get into a scrap with a couple of ferals, before finishing off the heart. And I've been very lucky that the ammo I've been getting from hearts is the 45 caliber I need to keep my vector going. I then make my way across the street to take out the lonely hostile, who somehow managed to close the door while she was lying on the floor bleeding out. Fair play, telekinesis takes skills. Then it's time to head south, where 2 more enclaves meet their maker. I get infected by a feral, although I do get my revenge. Then I take down the play cart. Play cart down. Yes, it is, my friend. Yes, it is. Oh, there's the bloater. Bloody hell, that's like the third bloater I've just casually walked straight through. Not even a sneak attack like they did in Providence. Either they're getting smarter or I'm getting dumber. I'll let you guys decide that in the comment section. 2 play carts remaining in Drucker County. The first of which gets off to a terrible start as I go back to my stealth and speed approach. I complete the first phase with a shovel, blow myself up with a pipe bomb, then while attempting to shoot it, I get tackled by a feral straight into the gas cloud. Of all the bloody places to land. But somehow I still managed to take down the heart without getting infected. Just 1 final heart and 3 hostile knobheads remaining. But I think we need something extra to take down the last living members of the baddies. And I'm out of supplies anyway, so gotta get back to an outpost to stock up, I suppose. And seeing as I'm down to my final 3 45 caliber rounds, it only feels right to go back to the gas launcher. I have 3 gas rounds left for the launcher and 3 bloater clouds from when I installed the biochem station earlier. Oh shit. Oh god! Oh. Update 35, I'd be dead. Especially as that horde had a feral and a juggernaut. The chances of me surviving an infected encounter on foot in that situation would be next to none. I think this proves that Wick is destined for a higher purpose. Our last play cart is at St. Marcus's Public Library, and with 1 flare and 3 bloater grenades followed shortly after, we finally conquer the blood plague in Drucker County. But you know for a fact this isn't over yet. We still have 3 hostile enclaves remaining, and so far we have no further information about where Wick's brother is. But that's why we brought the gas launcher. Although I miss every single shot and nearly die in the process. But nearly isn't close enough as Wick goes back to spraying his load into the faces of strangers. Stay down, you bastard. I then head back to the library to swap my primary weapon for a 50 round 22, then use it to eliminate the penultimate hostile. Sadly though, she had no information, so this entire revenge trip is reliant on my final stop. 3 more hostiles between me and getting some more information about Wick's brother. The first dies incredibly quickly and a second charges up my rear, but the fool wasn't even armed. Also, what kind of knobhead dresses in a colourful animal hoodie? What a loser. I down the final hostile, then start the interrogation. Yeah, tell me about my brother. Where is he? I must know. Blood at boiling temperature, frothing at the mouth, I batter with my shovel. Oh, yeah, okay, apparently she couldn't take a shovel to the back. What kind of person can't take a shovel to the back, you know? You might think all was lost there, that with the death of that woman, the hope of finding Wick's brother also dies. But in her final moments, I was able to make out a few blood-choking words. Cascade Hills, Lizard, Gang, Cult. So that's exactly where he heads next. To Cascade Hills to find the Lizard Gang cult and to find his lost brother. Starting at the starter base. Duh. We build a level 2 infirmary, a red talon workshop, and once this shite has been removed, a shooting range for the extra 20 stamina. We then climb a tall ladder to scout about, and set off to claim some outposts so we can start earning daily resources. Firstly, I decide to focus on a medical centre, as meds is probably what I go through the most. See how many times we got blood plague in Providence Ridge, for example. But seeing as we're now up to day 10 or 11, our standing is extremely high, so hordes can quite quickly escalate into big ol' fights. Luckily, I came prepared. With the last few stragglers taken care of, I claim the medical centre, and once my labour allows me, I'll be upgrading it to level 2. Next up, a stranger is asking for my assistance, and seeing as I'm new to town, I need to get to know people in order to find those lizard cult people. I meet this lad Corey, who's looking for medical supplies, which has absolutely nothing to do with me dropping a molly on his ass, and a bloater popping immediately after. Although he may have hit his head in that encounter, as he wants to find medicine at the gun store. I'm like, sure thing pal, I'll help you out, but first we gotta take down a placard. Don't look at me like I'm the bad guy, we live in a capitalist society. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, nothing comes for free. Unless you bring a baseball bat to the red light district, of course, but that's something completely different. The placard is located at the local pub, and using Corey as a distraction, we complete the first phase, then I cock up the molly throw and, well, yeah, slightly burnt. Although a slightly singed eyebrow is nothing compared to Corey. What are you going to die for? That's a bit daft, isn't it? Although, to be fair to the bloke, he is currently fighting off a crackhead with a spork. You might have noticed at this point I've swapped out the SMG for a 50 round 22. And so far, I'm loving the switch. Talk about a drama queen. I can then kill the heart and collect some very good loot. Now I can finally go get Corey his meds. Wait, hang on. I think I just stepped on Corey's face. Oh, what the fuck? Sadly, yes, I did stamp on Corey's face. To be fair, he did say he needed meds. Please can we get one massive RIP for Corey in the comment section. In Corey's honour, I intend on turning the gun store he wanted to loot for meds into an outpost, but first it's claimed by a couple of placards. So I make my way to another tall structure to do some climbing, but before doing so I find 2 frags and 2 smoke bombs in the military truck at the bottom. So once I've scouted the area, it's time to put those smoke bombs to work. The heart is located in a bathroom, and with smoke active, I can complete the first phase no problem. I then dodge out and toss a molly in, and I think I heard a second phase sound, which I'm able to confirm after leading the hordes outside, and 2 more swings gets the kill. Next up is a Heart in Seconds auto shop, right opposite the gun store I'll be claiming in Corey's honour. I decide against the smoke on this occasion and complete the first phase after plenty of dodging, then toss another molly. There we go. Jesus. No! Jesus, come on! Well, that certainly could have gone better, but then again, it could have gone a lot worse. Has anyone ever had this much bad luck with bloaters in a playthrough? Thankfully, everything burnt up from that bloater explosion, so I can complete the second phase with nothing to contest me. Oh, Jesus! Oh my god. As I escape, I toss another molly, then as the crackhead tackles me, the play cart goes down. But thankfully, I'm able to get my revenge before my infection becomes permanent. Well, semi-permanent, I'm always carrying multiple play cures. I claim the gun store as an outpost, and once it's upgraded to level 2, I make my way to loot the play cart and the auto shop. Once everything has been scavenged, I chat to some nearby enclave that are starving, and I'm like, look, if I happen to find some food chilling in a decaying play cart husk, I'll sort you out, but I want to know where and what the lizard cult is. Thankfully, there happens to be a play cart in the neighbouring house, so leaving my car behind, I head to investigate. Something those lazy pricks obviously never did. I'm able to take it out as well as several crackheads with no issues, providing you count getting infected by the second as a non-issue. But unfortunately, I don't get any food for my troubles, just some life-saving medicine. So for my next step, I decide to investigate the most northeasterly section of the map, as there's usually a play cart or 2, or failing that, a barn with a food resource in. But on my way past, some more people need my help. Even if it is a massive red flag to claim you are certified humans. They've been attacked by a triple pack, and luckily I'm ready and waiting with the strongest apocalyptic weapon. I have a really strong arse. Although all that sound has attracted a nearby juggernaut, and seeing as I'm now armed with a 22, I'm not exactly prepared to fight it. So instead I repeatedly reverse into it like an aggressive bottom. It takes a hell of a lot longer than I'm used to, and certainly wasn't worth the damage on my car. But at least I can purchase a toolkit and a first aid kit from the guys I saved. Then it's back to our journey northbound. And Christ, I always forget how far away this place is. Luckily I can get to our destination without wasting too much fuel, and this happens to be another heart with only one entrance, so I can block the door with my car and get an easy victory. Although sadly I don't get any food, just dinosaur gunk to keep the car moving or to burn the undead. But we're not finished with our trip up north just yet, as there's another play cart in the house around the corner. Another heart that's located in a tight and narrow bathroom, which is both a gift and a curse. You see, with the correct timing I can hit the heart and keep the undead off me relatively easily, but it being a tight fit I always struggle to escape the gas cloud, with the exception of this time, funnily enough. As usual, I drop a molly behind me, then go for a little run. By the time I get back in, there's next to no opposition. And as usual, the second phase comes much quicker, and after repeating the same tactic, the play cart goes down with no issues. However, we're still in plague territory, which tells me there's gotta be a heart in the barn down the way, and I decide to head there on foot to investigate. Although on the way I do come across a wandering horde, but because I'm a tactical specialist, I lead the Zeds back through the 3 bloaters and blow them sky high with a single molly. Like I said, tactical genius. I then proceed to almost immediately get infected fighting the play cart. Oh no, you bastard! So maybe a tactical liability would have been a better description, especially as I then repeat the mistake and refill my infection meter to well over halfway. Thankfully I still got molly, so it's time to set everything on fire, which actually completes the first phase, and from there we can quite simply take out the play cart. I then dash back to the house from earlier and claim it as a temporary outpost so I can complete some looting. In the play cart I find a food rucksack as well as an ammo sack in the house. Then I check out the hunting shack out back, but to be honest it was a bit of a disappointment. I then head back to the heart in the barn and get another food sack as well as a medikit. So then I can make my way back to the aimless wanderers to give Tony his rucksack of food. Although when I give it to them they just decide to bugger off. They give me no information or nothing. I suppose it's my own fault for trusted knobheads whose only survival gear is flavoured condoms. Oh well, onwards and upwards, time to head to Lowell. And you'll never guess what, I start by climbing the water tower. To be honest, I probably should have grown out of the any excuse to get high phase, but hey, it is what it is. I find 3 hearts from the crow's nest and decide to take on the one in the north of town first. It's located in another bathroom, and unfortunately on this occasion my timing is a little off. Oh, fuck off. So for the first time in my life I beat off a stranger in the bathroom, then set everything on fire. But after that we take down the play cart with no more issues. Unless you count me getting bit while I'm looting it, of course. That could be a pretty big issue. But for now there's nothing more to do than to crack on. I don't want to be wasting too much fuel in driving back and forth base to remove my infection, especially as the base is right on the edge of the map. The next heart is in in an unfinished house and I phase it while surrounded, then burn everything down, while narrowly avoiding another bite. I killed the obligatory feral with gunslinger before completing the second phase, then leading the hordes into a nearby house. And even though they do catch up to me, they cause no issues as I take down the heart. I get extra ammo for my rifle, a first aid kit, and a sack of meds as a reward. In fact, I've gotten so many meds from these plague arts, by the time this whole series is finished, I'm gonna have enough plague cure to sort out America. I guess that means Undead Labs is just gonna have to cancel State of Decay 3. Sorry, that's my bad, boys. Our next stop is Sud City Laundry, and we can take it down with no issues whatsoever. Like, genuinely, this time there was no issues. I then decide to head northwest, as that's where the Bullet Benefactor is currently active. But first I decide to turn this petrol station into an outpost, but making the area secure turned out to be so much harder than I was expecting. I thought I could do a quick bum rush and claim before the hordes got to me, but that certainly wasn't the case. In fact, I had to leg it back down to the main road, put 10 rounds into the faces of the undead, then loop around the divider to make sure they're all far enough away. Then finally I can claim it and set landmines, as well as upgrading it to level 2, which allows me to unload all of my stuff as well as repair my weapons. So by the time we're back on the road, we're in excellent condition, providing you ignore my infection meter, of course. I find the next heart while I'm just driving past, and it's also right next to the supply drop from the Bullet Benefactor. Unfortunately, however, so is a Juggernaut. So I make sure to park up a Juggernaut safe distance away, then head inside where the fat prick can't get to me. Another heart in the bathroom, and again timing correctly, I keep the dickheads from me while also completing the first phase. However, when I try to set it on fire, I once again get bit. Christ's sake, I've been bitten more times than that girl from school with a Twilight fascination. With another cure floating through my immune system, I collect the supply drop, then I can head back inside and pretty quickly end the plague cart. But being the greedy bastard I am, I still want to loot it, and I've never tried those flashbangs before. Oh wow! Oh my god! That was amazing! Although they're all getting back up. Why are they getting back up? It's a flashbang, bro, not a bloody grenade. So I decide to go for another run. However, nothing seems to chase me. And when I head back in, everyone seems to have been missing their legs. But whatever, I collect the loot and get the hell out. And you'll never guess my next destination, another tall tower. Although I only spot 2 hearts from the cell tower, and wanting a second medical outpost, I make my way south to fight this plague heart. Because the medical center is only claimed by 1 heart, surely it's going to be this one, right? The heart right next door to it? Well, let's find out together, shall we? But first, let's take down a triple pack of screamers with a trick shot. 2 in 1, baby! 2 in 1. That is exactly who you're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now back to the plague cart. It's in another tavern and is awkward as shit, but still I can take it down with no issues. And you might be able to pick up one thing from the minimap, we're still in bloody plague territory. So someone's been lying to me, and I'll be honest with you boys, I'm not happy about it. So I go for a little jog to try and find the bastard, and it's in this house, which is definitely in range of the cell tower I climbed earlier. Great. But this one goes down nice and easily, using smoke for cover on the first 2 phases. Then a single frag as I roll away to safety. Good night, plague cart. With that, I head back to the medical center, which actually turns out to be a veterinary clinic, and it joins my roster of outposts. And with that, it's back north to fight the heart up that way. The heart is in the kitchen, and I complete the first phase before anything can get to me, and as I dodge out, I drop a frag grenade. I then once again get infected by a crackhead as I climb over a fence, so I drop a load or 2 into its face, then jab myself with a cure. Another bloody cure. And that earlier frag grenade must have caused a double phase, as I'm then able to take down the heart with a few more swings. But there's definitely one more plague art in the area, so I head off on the search. I find another infected house with a heart in the kitchen, and weirdly I'd still rather eat here than anything Jamie Oliver has ever produced. I complete the first phase, then drop a fuel bomb I collected from the previous heart, which does a fantastic job of burning up everything inside. So when I head back inside, I phase it with 1 hit it a second time, then drop a frag, which kills off the plague art. And as you could probably predict, I have 0 patience. Oh god, wait, it's still... What? The plague art's dead? And I'm still getting gas inhalation? What the fuck is that about? But don't worry, with a bit more patience I collect the loot, then drop all the shit off at the veterinary clinic. But at this point, Wick still hasn't learned anything about those lizard people. In fact, he hasn't met anyone for quite some time. Where the hell has everyone gone? So it's time to go on a rampage in the hope that by clearing the blood plague, people will come out of the woodwork and be prepared to help Wick find the lizard gang cult and finally find his lost brother. He takes down the heart in this warehouse, then continues his journey south. I briefly go back to stealthing to eliminate the Zeds in the building before phasing with the shovel and dropping another frag, but then I decide to hide in one of the bedrooms. All the local Zeds rush to the heart's defense, then I jump out and drop a fuel bomb on their asses. Not only does this clear the undead population, but it also caused a phase, so a few more heavy swings and goodnight plague heart. Up next is the Army and Navy store to the south, and this one being in a cupboard is always good fun, but I still do what I do best and get the phase and drop a frag. Once the gases are fucked off, I roll back in, hit it once and drop a molly. And that is phase 2 complete. complete. Then once I've led the hordes outside, I head back inside and get the final hits, killing the play cart. There's another play cart in the gun store adjacent to it. I'm making sure to ignore that horde. I complete the first phase before anything can catch me, then drop my last fuel bomb. And ignoring my double singed eyebrow, that did a fantastic job of clearing the hordes, with the exception of the armored Zeds, of course. I then take out the feral that was thankfully frozen, before turning my attention to a screamer that's coming into shot. Yep. Oh, you son of a bitch. But hey, what's the point in crafting plague cures if you're not going to take them? Although, admittedly, I've had packs of Skittles that last longer. Anyway, I head back to the gun store, and by entering through the back door and closing it behind me, it slows everything down just enough for me to finish off the play cart. Then, after a quick trip back to the veterinary clinic to drop off my loot, I set my sights eastbound to clear the centre of the map, where I find another heart in another house. But using the earlier mentioned bathroom strat, this goes down with no problems. Obviously ignoring the small bit of gas damage I did to myself. I find the next play cart in Rick Grimes' son, I phase it and drop a pipe bomb, then remember I'm carrying the G18 as my sidearm, and unload into it until the second phase comes along. But now I've got to deal with a feral, something I haven't had to deal with as often as on the previous maps. But with him down, there's nothing stopping me from finishing off the play cart. Okay, except him for some reason. Camouflage little prick. And with this being the closest I've been to base for some time, now is probably a good time to head back and sort out this partial infection. Gotta love this infirmary, one of the only reasons I've survived this long. With that, there seems to be one more heart in the center of the map, so I set that as my next destination and head over there. The heart is located in a tartan mart, and I take the back exit for no reason whatsoever. I phase it, then burn it, but then get drawn into a shootout with a feral. And even though he got a decent hit in, I haven't gone this far to be taken out by a single crackhead. I can then complete the second phase, take down 2 more ferals, before finishing off the job. I find the next heart in a house nearby and take it down without too many issues. Then while I'm looting it, a stranger drops by asking for my assistance. He got separated from his group and is asking for a lift to reconnect, and I agree, then sell him a load of shite I did one from the play cart. Then on the way I ask him if he's ever heard of the Lizard Gang cult, and he says yes. Finally, someone who's had dealings with these people. He agrees to tell me everything he knows about them as soon as we get him back to his people. However, when I get him back home, his friends are no more and the building is now an infestation. Now tasked with clearing the undead, I drop a molly into a bloater cloud to get the job done quickly. And even though I was successful, the lad gets destroyed by a feral, so we don't get any information at all. For Christ's sake, the only lead we've had this entire time dies almost immediately. We have to be cursed. I suppose the only good takeaway from this situation is I'm back in plague territory, so I can carry on with our other goal of ending the blood plague. The nearest heart is in this warehouse, in what I'm imagining is the manager's back office. Well, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say this isn't the first time a stranger has been beating meat back here in the hopes of furthering their goals. But let's hope it's the first time someone has caught something nasty. I heal up and head back in, although I get bit almost immediately, and my infection meter goes well over halfway, so I ignite the entire room with a fuel bomb, which also completes the second phase, which means I can then come back in and finish it off once and for all. I then decide to head back to the utility shed from earlier, as there's a high chance there's a toolkit in there and I'll need to fix up the car pretty soon. Crackheads, however, have other plans. And that's me infected once again. Obviously, I'm still carrying plenty of cures, but being infected so quickly after the last time is kinda concerning. I need to start being more careful. I find the toolkit, then seeing as the hordes have dispersed, I can loot the play cart, being extra grateful for that first aid kit. I even managed to fix up the car before a feral comes for me, but it turns out he was only interested in my spiky rear end. What a pervert. The next heart is only one warehouse over, so I probably didn't need to waste the fuel. But hey, whatever, it is what it is. Unfortunately, before I can complete the first phase, a feral tackles me, so I drop back, ready to take it out, then a second takes me from the side. I managed to beat it off, but things are now starting to look dicey, especially as ferals don't hunt in packs of 2. Like an extremist incel, they're either massive loners or hunt in packs, literally no in between. Their pursuit of me takes me away from the plague art as I struggle to find an opening to start taking them out. And as I start to put objects between me and them, I notice an enclave in the container fort. So I burst through their doors in the hopes of using them as a distraction so I can finish them off as the ferals feast upon the strangers. But instead, I once again get infected. As I limp away clutching at my gut, I walk past an enclave member. That hoodie, could it be? But there's currently no time for thought, I've still got crackheads on my tail. I climb onto a container and take out the one chasing me. But that legend of a man takes out the other 2 single-handedly. But who the bloody hell is this badass? Well, this is Gaz, the last remaining member of the Lizard Gang cult. He tells Rick all about the conquests he made as the leader, clearing Cascade Hills and making the town safe after a crazy member annihilated enclave after enclave. But sadly, the blood plague came back with a vengeance, and not being able to contain it, those that survived the initial days disbanded and headed their own ways. But not Gaz. Gaz wanted to take back Cascade Hills as he once did, and build a sanctuary so hopefully the cult could reform. However, after a nasty interaction with a juggernaut, he decided for his own safety it wasn't worth the risk. So instead, he's been living here alone in the container fort, waiting for that sweet relief of death. Wick asks about his brother and Gaz says he knew him, but he was never in Cascade Hills, but promises to tell him everything he needs to know as long as he helps take down the remaining placards in Cascade Hills. Reluctantly, Wick agrees and takes off, with only 6 placards remaining, starting with the last heart he was assaulted. But without 3 crackheads threatening his survival, this heart goes down with no problems, ignoring the problems I create for myself, of course. I can then collect my car and take off, and you can probably guess my destination. Sail Tower, baby! 5 placards left and 4 of which are all in walking distance. So let's get to work. I start with this warehouse, the heart in the furthest northerly part of town. I can quickly face it with the shovel, then drop a frag to help with the crowd control. I then deal with a feral and complete the second phase, before leading the hordes outside as I wait for the gases to dissipate. I can then head back in and one more swing gets the job done. Onto the next heart in a warehouse slightly south, and as there's no zombies around, I can complete the first phase with no problems. But instead of waiting around with my dick in my hand, I head towards the other heart across the street to complete that phase, and the hope it spreads out the hordes and reduce the risk of any calamities. This works out great as I once again complete the phase completely uncontested, and then I can head back to the other heart, and even though there are zombies about, there are nowhere near enough of them to cause any issues. Just one more heavy swing and that completes the second phase, and I can head back across the street, although it does seem like a horde has gathered. But there's fuck all it can do as I complete another phase with a single hit. I can then barrel roll my way back across the street, where one more heavy swing can end the placard. I get plenty of time to grab the ammo, bombs and energy drinks before, you guessed it, crossing the street again. And this one takes just the 2 swings. I'm glad to get more energy drinks and pipe bombs, and then I go on a little jog to finish off the penultimate heart. Although on the way I do have to do my bit for culling the local crackhead population. This heart is in the bathroom and you can probably figure out the strategy by now. Phase it and run, kill any freaks that come after me, then the second phase, although admittedly completely uncontested, and I still managed to find a way of taking partial infection. But after a quick jog outside to get the Zeds out of the building, one more swing gets the win. With that, I abandon my old fuel outpost and instead claim the army and navy outfitters nearby. This allows me to drop off the loot I've been collecting, but most importantly top up my plague cure supply. Then once the car has been refueled, it's back on the road to find the final plague cart of Cascade Hills. I find it along the road just north of town, and it's another heart in a bathroom, and it's not too long until I get overwhelmed, so I'm forced to drop a fuel bomb and set everything on fire, including myself. But with them all burnt out, I can then finish off the first phase, before fucking up a feral who's decided to trespass, then completing the second phase with one more swing. I then have to fight another feral, but this time it's at least outside, then just 2 more swings of my shovel later, and the plague cart falls. And with that, all the hearts are destroyed in Cascade Hills. But before we can head back to speak to Gaz, we get sucked into the reformation of capitalism. More and more people are starting to move back to town, and thus we need to establish some kind of trade network in order for everyone to thrive. But as is so often the case, someone gets greedy thinking they can overthrow us all. Well, unfortunately, Trish, I haven't come this far for 3 greedy shits to take it all away from me. Enjoy these burst rounds, you twats. But after that, I can head to speak to Gaz, and he thanks Wick for helping out and saving the town, then agrees to tell him exactly where his brother is, but warns him he might not want to know the truth, as his next stop must be Trumbull Valley, defeat the Blood Plague for the 5th time, and finally reunite with his lost brother. But before we can leave Cascade for good, we have some shit to finish. It's time to re-establish capitalism, baby. After meeting up with our fellow trade members at a neutral position, but unfortunately before we can negotiate terms for trade, we get ambushed by the rest of the greedy bastards. But let's be honest, 3 knobheads don't stand a chance against a man that's defeated the Blood Plague 4 times and performed a partial genocide in Drucker County. The final member reanimates in front of me, just so I can kill the prick a second time, but all of that noise has triggered a siege at our location. Although if I'm being honest with you, it was a very underwhelming siege to say the least. Only a solitary feral provided any potential problems. But with the undead defeated, these guys can get back to buying and selling shit, and Wick can then travel to his final destination, Trumbull Valley. After starting construction with an infirmary workshop duo, we call in a car as we left our last one outside the trade summit in Cascade Hills. I guess that means we've been hitchhiking our way over here, but ignoring that, the car I call in is one I've never seen before. It's a red Talon vehicle. It doesn't do anything fancy other than having a special light bar at the top and a cool decal, but it does have an interesting quirk that causes disaster later in the video. Anyway, while I'm waiting for that bloater to evaporate, I searched the military tent to the side, and I'm pretty glad I did. Plenty of useful shit to keep us going strong. Ignoring the crossbow, of course, I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than use that thing. I obviously take a quick second to drop the supplies back off at base, but get jump scares while I'm in a menu. Oh, Jesus, what the fuck? But hey, it's always good to get a crackhead kill under your belt early doors. I can then make my way north and climb a cell tower, and after discovering 2 plague hearts nearby, I head to the area my scope couldn't reach. There's always a heart or 2 down this way. Heart 1, I can block the only entrance with my car, so that's a freebie. But my escape is always a bit more interesting, as I can't just jump in the car and drive away. So after nearly destroying my car, I decide it's best to head onwards on foot, mainly because the car's now in a really awkward position and I don't want any dickheads attaching to its bonnet. But it's not a problem, as the next heart is only in the warehouse slightly to the north. As soon as we're on to our final stand, I no longer need to be conservative with my ammo and explosives. As I start beating, I notice a bloater creeping into shot, so I try weaponizing its cloud to instant kill the heart, but fuck shit up and can't drop the molly in time. And to make things even worse, as I try to get rid of the cloud, the snap aim screws me and the molly goes straight into the shelving unit I'm stood right next to. Luckily, fire cannot kill the dragon. I complete the first phase, then drop a thermite grenade I picked up from the military tent. Then with the flame still burning, I move in to complete the second phase, and as I do so, a burning zombie runs into the heart, finishing it off for good. I then go for a little run to lose the hordes, then find a first aid kit in a secret weapons container. Certainly a waste of a high value item, but it is what it is. I take what I need from the plague heart, then head back to collect my car. But before I can get in it, a stranger appears nearby asking for my assistance. This is Sack, and he's lost his son and wants me to help him find him. And there has been several occasions on Wick's journey where he tries to help someone, and they always die horribly. But that ends today. Not only will Sack assist us in taking down a plague heart, but he shall also find his son, and finally someone on this journey will get the happy ending they deserve. You will be more than just a distraction for me as I take on the blood plague. Sack will live. Although things get off to a horrible start as Wick gets diagnosed with Parkinson's. Why am I... It's a bloody good thing I'm always carrying plenty of plague cures. I'm then able to complete the first phase, although while doing so I get bit, and while beating him off I get trapped in the gas cloud. And I'm back up Shit's Creek, but at least I've got plenty of paddles. Sack has also come to my assistance, but he's getting grappled, so I drop a thermite grenade to help him out. Damn, I'm such a good friend. I then head back in and pop 5 headshots in quick succession, which really impresses Sack.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Well, if that impresses you, wait until you see my shovel work. That's the second phase completed right there. I then sort out a crackhead from distance, and once again notice that Sack is in trouble. Well, there's only one way I know how to save a man from a horde of zombies. I got you, Sack! There we go! I'll save him. I'll sort him out. I'm wasting so much fuel right now. So much fire on keeping Sacky Boy alive. But after all that trouble, it's only one more heavy swing to finish off the plague heart. I don't even have a chance to loot it. Just hop straight back into the car. After a quick J-turn to remove the Zeds, I pick up our lad Sack, and it didn't cross my mind once to leave him for the undead. It actually crossed my mind several times, because I'm actually a knobhead. We get to the area of his son's last known location, and it looks like he's been captured by some hostiles. Well, the sidearm goes brop brop, get fucked you bastards. I do what I do best, firing off rounds with no thought of where they're going. Although for once on this occasion, that might not have been the smart play. Damn it, no. So his son is dead, and he realised exactly after I shot 2 guys that were lying motionless on the floor. Did I just kill Sack's son? Well, at the moment there's too many zombies chasing me to speak to the bloke, so I turn my attention to the plague heart next door. Hostiles always set up bases in the worst places. While Sack is grieving the loss of his son, I phase the plague heart, then drop my final thermite grenade. But that must have caused a double phase, as a few more hits kills the plague heart. At that point I decide to head back and see how Sack is doing, but he's surrounded by the most amount of zombies I've ever seen in my life. Why is there so many fucking zombies? Luckily, one fuel bomb can clear the entire horde, and it doesn't even remove a layer of skin off Sack. And lads, we can all agree, your Sack is definitely the thinnest skin you can get. Sack then gets dropped by a crackhead, but it's alright, my twitchy trigger finger prevents him from being disemboweled. But it looks like he needs to have a little lie down. I'm so close, I can't believe my baby's dead. I was saving this for when I found him. You should have it. Thanks, man. Oh, soda. To be honest, I don't need it. Can I sell it back to you? He rejects that proposal, so I leave him to grieve on the floor in peace. Then once I've collected loot from the last plague heart, I head off to take down what I imagine is the final plague heart in Fairfields. It's in a house nearby, and I can quickly phase it uninterrupted with my shovel, then drop a frag as I'm exiting. Although when I head back in, I get complacent and get bit, which results in another infection. So I once again beat off a stranger in the bathroom and drop my final frag grenade. Then once I'm clear of the crowds, pop that cure. But that must have caused a second phase, as one more hit gets the job done. And with that, I decide to take a jog to a petrol station on the edge of town and turn that into an upgraded outpost. Then after a quick looting spree, I climb the cell tower on the edge of Fairfields. Because we're still in plague territory. Who'd have guessed that I can't count? I can spot another plague heart from the top, but unfortunately I get trapped up here by a pretty problematic wandering horde. So the question is, how the bloody hell do I get down from here without being turned into a chew toy? Well, I collected more frags from the outpost. Oh, nope. Jesus. Okay, that was not clever. I guess we can add invisible walls to the already stacked list of villains. Thankfully, from the lower platform I can drop the frag, which ignites the bloater cloud and sets the horde ablaze, giving me the time I need to shimmy down and escape. And luckily our next plague art is in walking distance, although it is right next door to an infestation. I managed to complete the first phase without too much trouble, and once I've escaped out the back door, toss a frag behind me. But the feral from the earlier wandering horde has caught up to me. But you should know by now ferals are barely an inconvenience for Wick, and the feral hunter strikes once again. Imagine being taken down by a crackhead, you'd have to be a massive pussy. I then head back inside, completing the second phase, and the frag I toss as I exit the back door gets the job done for good. So far so good, 6 hearts down, just 24 more to go. Heading out to Fairfields, I find another heart in a farmhouse, and we can get the job finished without too many troubles. After that, I decide to head northbound towards the mountains, and work our way through the heart back down the valley. I get through the tunnel and find the next play cart in the gun store, then some backward sounding bloke named Mickey jumps on the radio to complain about me. I don't see your ugly ass taking on the blood plague, what a prick. Anyway, I complete the first phase with my calloused palms, then light everything on fire. I then kill another crackhead, complete the second phase, then not too long later take down the entire heart. I then climb onto a car on the main road, and once I've popped off some unsuppressed gunfire to draw the hordes towards me, I can then sprint back towards the gun store, making sure to take the long way around. Then once I'm inside, the area is secure and I can claim it and set landmines. Then once I've enjoyed the free firework display, then it's time to get to looting. And with everything safely deposited into the supply locker, I continue the journey northbound in search for more play carts. There's one in a warehouse at the industrial section up the road, and I decide to take it on before I've even climbed the cell tower nearby. What an absolute maniac. I phase it, then drop a pipe bomb, but that not being enough, I also decide to drop a fuel bomb. Then with some clever maneuvering, I can put most of the hordes into the flames, which allows me to complete the second phase incredibly quickly, and once again drop another fuel bomb. Then a few more swings gets the job done. It's at that point I decide to climb the cell tower, and there's 2 more play carts in this section of the map. I decide to start with the one slightly to the south, and things start off pretty decently by completing the first phase, then I drop a pipe bomb, which certainly didn't cause me any issues. But with the way I'm playing, I've taken way too much partial infection, so even though I can complete the second phase really easily, a plague feral sneezes on me and I contract blood plague. But obviously I got plenty of plague cures, so it's not even a problem. The feral goes down as you'd expect, and 2 swings of my trusty shovel later, so does the play cart. At that point, it's time to head back northbound to take on the heart we spotted earlier, but this time we can take it down with no problems. Then it's time to go and speak to Mickey and his mates, as I get the impression they've been here for some time, and we still need to get some information on where Wick's brother is. They agree to ask around about him as long as I help Mickey find some computer doohickey. So we both hop in the car and make a move, and holy shit, that's a long bloody drive. So on the way past, I decide to drop by the outpost we claimed, drop off all our loot and refuel the car, and then we can make it all that way without a secondary pit stop. Unfortunately, however, the industrial steel supply company is filled with the undead. Well, it's a good thing I'm carrying enough fuel bombs to reignite your parents' marriage. Also, Mickey does a really good job at distracting the dickheads while I sneak away to do the looting. I give him the computer doohickey, and he gives me something very special in return. No, it's not his virginity, 3 of the Wilkerson Special Reserve. It's basically a firebomb on steroids, so I rush over to the next plague art to test the buggers out. However, there's a bloater right next to the heart, so instead I use a fuel bomb in an attempt to get that instant bloater kill. Unfortunately, however, that didn't work. However, I do get an easy phase with 2 hits of the shovel, and then I drop the pipe bomb for good measure. Then when I head back in, I get bit, taking my infection meter well into the danger zone. So I drop one of Mickey's special fire bombs and button bash my way out of there. But hey, that took down the play cart. My next plan is to head to the center of the map, where there's usually 2 play carts you can take down pretty easily by blocking the entrance with your car. However, I realise I'm in plague territory sooner than expected, so I take a quick detour, which works out as I find another heart. However, this is where things start to go horribly wrong as I completely ignore my infection meter. Things start off as usual as I complete the first phase with my shovel, then I drop one of Mickey's special firebombs. I run around the back where I hear it complete a double phase, then I take another hit, taking my infection meter right up to the mark, but while the heart is facing I can't get close to it, so decide to drop a pipe bomb and skedaddle. Then thinking the cloud is dissipated, I throw myself back through the window. Oh god, oh, I'm infected myself. Imagine that's how I went out. Threw myself into the open. Oh no! A feral tackles me to the ground and a minute is taken from my lifespan. I try to dodge my way away, but he's immune to my button bashing strats. Less than 2 minutes of Wick's life remain. I need to climb onto the car to inject the cure. Just get to the car. But oh no, we can't climb onto this car. 1 minute remaining. Just get back to the building. Slow it down with the door. He hits me again. 34 seconds remaining. And that's when I inject the cure. Oh my god, 30 seconds. That was fucking insane. All because I couldn't climb up onto that car. Oh, okay. Okay, I need to stop dicking about. Don't get me wrong, that was pretty close, but there was no way in hell I was letting a feral take me down this close to victory. And with that, I can take down the plague heart, and I can tell you for a fact, I've never been so happy to see a medikit. With that over with and the skid marks removed from my underwear, it's back to those hearts that I can cheat. Sorry, no, not cheat, tactically maneuver around. Unfortunately, however, an enclave has moved into one of those spots. Inconsiderate bastards. They don't even have anything useful for sale. Your father should have left you in a crusty sock. Luckily, there is a plague heart in the other spot. And just like that, it's 14 hearts down in Trumbull Valley. My next plan is to clear up Spencer's Mill, and hopefully take down enough hearts to turn this ammo store into an outpost. But first things first, you know what I've got to do. Climb the cell tower, baby. I spot 3 hearts from the lookout, so it's time to get to work. Starting with the closest to my location, as that makes logical sense. I can complete the first phase before the crowds get to me, then once I'm outside, I lob one of Mickey's special firebombs. But after I've looped back around, a feral has joined the party, and rather surprisingly, the bastard decides to tackle me to the ground. And I'm once again millimeters away from infection, so we engage in a roly-poly battle outside, but ultimately there can only be one winner. Get wrecked, you crackhead. But all that commotion outside has drawn the hordes away from the heart, and that special firebomb must have caused the second phase, as a few more swings gets the job done. But the outpost I want is still claimed by a plague heart, so I immediately turn my attention to the next one. But as long as I can keep moving, it doesn't cause a problem whatsoever. Obviously ignoring that dickhead. So I take it outside and deal with it appropriately, and then I can head over to the gun store, which is now literally just outside of plague territory. So I turn it into an upgraded outpost, and once I've spent 5 minutes looting all of its goodies, I make our way towards the final heart in Spencer's Mill. It's located in an unfinished house, and knowing I'm strapped with explosives, decide to park the car away from the blast radius. However, there is a juggernaut right there. I decide to lead the beast well away from my vehicle, and luckily he doesn't know how to bend his knees, so can't get into the unfinished house to attack me while I'm attacking the plague heart. However, plague zombies can. So after taking yet another cure, it's time to light everything on fire. That gives me the time I need to complete the first phase and drop a pipe bomb, but after hearing the cries of a blood feral, it's time to get out of there. I'm able to deal with it, but unfortunately take damage from a plague Zed, but the earlier mentioned pipe bomb must have caused the double phase, as a few more swings kills the heart. Unfortunately, I seem to have forgotten about the fat fucker interested in my liver and kidneys, and my escape goes somewhere in between abysmal and catastrophic. Honestly, how the fuck did I think this was gonna end? Hey, get away from my car, you fat piece of shit! I can't help but feel that threat was a little on the late side, but I think we've all seen on this mission, Wick is a vengeful sort, and not once has he taken down a juggernaut that didn't involve his rear end. So I drop pipe bomb after pipe bomb on the big fat bastard. I can then force him to his knees with my overly aggressive automatic pistol, then jump onto his back and repeatedly stab him in the head. Luckily, I have a toolkit in the back. An advanced one as well, so it'll be a very quick fix. And a quick fix it really is. Allow that to be a lesson to the rest of you zombie pricks. Next up, it's time to meet Isby at the unfinished gas station. She's with Mickey's group who we helped out earlier, and tells me if I help her collect something from her previous home, she'll tell me the last known location of my brother. Finally a reliable lead, let's head over there. Although her previous base was in a petrol station of all places. What a weirdo. I let her crack on to do what she needs to, with me in a high location watching her back carefully. I'm such a good friend. But with that sorted, she then wants me to give her a lift back from where I picked her up from. And I'm obviously happy to agree. What kind of arsehole would leave a lady behind in the zombie apocalypse? Hang on. Oh, I left Isby behind. Oh, my God. Isby, I'm so sorry. I thought you were in the car. Honest to God, I just got so easily distracted. I'm a terrible friend. Unfortunately, things don't get any better for Isby as I clip her at 45 miles an hour. Luckily, she's a champ and gets straight up and just shakes it off. Anyway, I get back to where I picked her up from and she tells me a guy matching my brother's description was last seen in downtown Marshall. We are finally so close to the end game, but first we have to finish what we started. We have to end the blood plague once and for all. Under the cover of darkness, we get to the next plague cart near the Wilkerson's farm, but there's nothing the undead could throw at me to prevent my win. So I immediately head over to the next one, which happens to be located right next to a level 2 infestation. But that actually turned out to be a great thing. Okay, ignoring yet another infection. But because that feral is from an infestation, by killing it, I'm given a 30-round burst fire shotgun. Although putting 19 of those rounds straight into a plague heart doesn't even complete the first phase. So for those of you who always comment asking why I don't usually shoot hearts, that is exactly why. Although this gun in particular is excellent for thinning out hordes. Very highly recommended. Although, let's be honest, nothing can beat fire, especially a fuel bomb. Look at that baby spread. Anyway, the heart inevitably goes down, and I can head back to the ammo outpost to unload and restock. Then with 11 plague hearts remaining, it's time to take back Trumbull Valley from the Blood Plague and reunite Wick with his brother. And seeing as it's been a while, I've swapped out my 22 for a 30 round AK, as I've been collecting every bit of ammo from hearts, from sacks, from outposts. Any chance I have for getting the high powered stuff. So let's do this properly. The next heart is in an awkward ensuite, so I'm stuck using the shovel, but it does go down. And we continue inching closer and closer to Marshall. 10 hearts remain on Wick's journey. Still in the farmland, we find our next plague heart. But strapped with an AK, it stands no chance whatsoever. 21 hearts down onto the next in this scrapyard. But he's the most dangerous man the apocalypse has ever witnessed. Nothing can stop him now. Not even the hostiles he finds just outside of Marshall. After downing 2 and finishing the third, he leaves the others for the undead. One more heart remains before we head into downtown Marshall itself. But not even God could stop Wick now. He's an unstoppable force sent to rid the world of the Blood Plague and take down as many of the undead as humanly possible. 7 plague hearts remaining. Now we head into Marshall. Probably the most dangerous place in State of Decay 2. Oh, fuck off, Tressie, not now, man. The next heart goes down as violently as the rest. Then Wick can take down the next before a single zombie can get to him. How high can this man climb? The next heart is in Big Daddy's auto shop. He starts as he always did, battering with his shovel until a feral tackles him, taking his partial infection right up to the limit. He manages to escape and drops a molly that completes the first phase of the heart. He can then pop a crackhead in the face and narrowly avoid the charge of a Plague Z. But unsuppressed gunfire deep in Plague Zone was always going to catch up to him. Another feral comes out of nowhere. Drunk on his own power, high on his apparent invincibility, he even starts to toy with a crackhead, dodging him for fun. The apocalypse has turned into his playground. That's when it happens. He manages to dodge the next attack, then throw himself over the wall to put space between them. But he gets downed and his health drops to dangerous levels. Less than 3 minutes left to live. But Wick is no quitter. He beats him off once more, but it's not enough. Trying to go over the wall once more, the feral tackles him and downs him to the point where the Plague Zeds can surround him, and his plague meter goes from minutes to seconds. Oh shit, yep, there we go. Come on. Nope! Nope, nope, no! No! Wick sadly dies alone in Trumbull Valley, turning into the very thing he swore to destroy. With 5 plague hearts remaining on the 5th and final map, he shall never find his brother, and the Blood Plague shall carry on sweeping through America and the rest of the world. But maybe I was wrong to say he died alone, as nearly 12 months ago to the day, merely streets away from his final resting place, his brother sadly succumbed to a similar fate. Rest in peace, Terry. Rest in peace, Wick. No one was as great and as diabolical as the two of you. It's a shame we didn't see you both together, but I guess if that had happened, the state never would have decayed. As painful as it was to get so close to the victory, it's just another reason why I love this game so much. Every action, every decision can lead to a permanent end. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one.